up, Woodward. We are starting off your day with a brand new crew. Meet Broder.
I can't control my arms sometimes. My limbs are just kind of flying.
Detroit Kool-Aid.
Fired up!
Y'all got Kool-Aid.
I'm fired up! But with the Wake Up Woodward crew, he's actually a part of the family.
Flannel Sam.
Ask me about my wiener!
Okay.
Along with JB and KG. Wake Up Woodward gets you all of your Detroit sports talk. Every morning, 8 to 10 a.m. Live on Woodward Sports. A show for Detroit, by Detroit, with people from Detroit. Tell Siri to set an alarm. Because it's time to Wake Up Woodward.
Guys, to the desk. In.
What up, though, people? It's time to Wake Up Woodward. And hey, look, man, it's a little bit different energy today. Got Mr. Matthew Broder back in the building.
Let's go!
What up, though, bro?
Oh, man, I miss you guys.
What up, though? Look, I know I'm breaking a little bit of a rule. I know you like us to start here at the desk, but our bro is back. He missed a couple days. Had to make sure that we show some love to you.
Bro, you guys have been crushing it. I was bummed that I missed these last 2 days. This is like the worst time to get sick. This is when we go Lions heavy. The excitement around the city is turning up. The Tigers?
And you're
the
our
Tigers?
Lions guy. And you're our Tigers guy.
Are you kidding me? No, but you guys held it down. I appreciate it. I've just been down for the count since Saturday night. Something hit me, and I've been a mess. But I feel a lot better today. Took a shower in the dark. I don't have power. It was cold. But we're here. The Lions have a 53-man roster.
They do.
52 and a half-ish.
And I can't wait to talk about it. And you know what? Anybody without power, anybody who went through the inclement weather, hope everybody out there is safe. Definitely a lot of down trees, power outages, trees hanging on lines and all that type of stuff, trees on houses. So it's just like, I remember as a kid, I saw this, and luckily our next door neighbors who had just had their baby, it was about 3 months after they went on a vacation to let their parents see their grandchild, and a tree had fallen right in their backyard, right on their house where their nursery was. So I don't know. Ever since then, it's been something that every time I see these types of storms, I definitely want to make sure that I throw some well wishes out there.
Yeah. Oh my goodness. That's just being in the right place at the right time, and prayers up for anybody who was affected by this inclement weather. Sorry that you didn't have power this morning, Broder. I know that absolutely blows, especially coming off of being sick, but hopefully you being here with us makes things a little bit better.
So much better.
In a studio that has power. Let there be light, let there be warmth, let there be heat.
Let's rock. And you know what? This guy right here, he's talking like a prophet right now. That is the vet of the network. That is Flannel Sam. It's your boy, Brandon Day, a.k.a. Detroit Kool-Aid. Cover the Pistons around this thing. You talked about Tim Patrick. We're going to talk about it a little bit more, but let's introduce the rest of the cast and the crew. Shout out to intern Chase. I see you in there. And since the camera is there, it is Detroit's #1 draft pick as well.
What
in
up,
the sound
though?
booth. That is KG. What up, though?
Hey, what up, though? Sam, I will give you credit, but that was Polo Frederick that actually made
Oh,
that.
that's
I just
right.
want you to know that before we even get started.
No, that's fair.
That's right. That's
Kind of a dope
right.
nickname, by the way.
Yeah, right.
It's a really nice polos, man. Really nice polos.
Shout out to Woodward Sports' MVP. In the TD booth, that is JB Smooth.
Hey, yo, what's going on, everybody? Hey, sorry to everyone who lost power yesterday. I know a couple friends lost power as well, too. I eventually came back on around midnight, but still, it kind of just sucks to lose power.
Oh, goodness gracious, man. Definitely, man. Another shout out to everybody without power. But wanted to save the best for last this morning. Where's that dude, Justin? Is he in here?
Where is he at?
I don't know.
He was on the desk before you got here.
Oh, there he goes. No, I
in the
knew he was
back.
here. Hey, just come up here just real quick, man. Just really, really, really quickly.
Which camera?
Over here on the desk, brother.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, no, just real quick. That dude, Justin, you joined the squad as an intern. You quickly shed that label by absolutely busting your tail, man. Doing everything that was asked and more. Innovating and doing so much more. I know that you're going back to school, so this isn't a goodbye. It's more of like a see you later, and probably still see you around at the Lions watch parties, Red Wings content, and just V-mixing in. I know you're going to have Western going crazy for Woodward Sports and the WUW Crew.
Yeah, I 100% am. I got a lot of stuff planned for everyone. I will still be a part of the social team. I will be doing a lot of man in the street stuff while I'm at Western getting content. So there will be places to see me. I will be on one of the Lions programs on Sunday as well. So I'm very excited to still be a part of Woodward Sports, but just I will not be here at an everyday capacity, which is really unfortunate because I'm going to miss the WUW Crew so much.
No,
And to Chat Fam.
We're going to miss you, man. You brought a lot to this. This is sad for me, too. Socials, WUW Crew, our brotherhood and everything. This is why we're in this thing. So thank you for everything you've done. We're going to make sure you get some tokens throughout the show. All right? And Chat Fam, make sure you guys are definitely supporting our guy, that dude Justin, this morning. Definitely. So, hey, listen. I talked to Stick. I talked to JB this morning. First thing we're going to make sure you do is that you go home with this, all right?
Uh-oh.
Bro, what's
We
going
got
on?
gifts.
All right?
Yeah, we got gifts.
You gotta go home.
Oh.
You gotta go home with some Woodward Sports. Look, Stick said you gotta go home with some Woodward Sports merch back to school. Make sure this is in the background of the stream.
I got you.
But thank you,
New
brother.
background piece for the win.
Let's rock. And look, I told you get some more tokens throughout the show. But
All right.
let's jump into this thing. I wanted to at least make sure we shouted you out, brother. Thank you for all that you do.
Of an angel.
Thank you,
Don't make
Justin.
me cry.
Ed O'Neill says you look like Sam Hartman, and I think that's a compliment. That's a good-looking man.
Sam Hartman is
That's-
a good-looking man.
That's a good-looking dude.
I'm pretty sure my wife would leave me for Sam Hartman, and I wouldn't even
geez.
mind.
Oh,
It's Sam
geez.
freaking Hartman.
Jeez.
There are a few guys you say, well, hey,
Oh,
Dansby
man.
Swanson's another one.
yeah.
Jeez.
Ryan
My
Reynolds.
wife loves Dansby Swanson.
Really?
Yeah.
I don't even. I
I don't even want to look at the shit.
Yeah, I
He's a good
don't.
dude,
I don't.
too.
I
Like
don't.
a really
I don't
great
that
man.
I
Is
know,
he a
right?
good Moneyball guy too?
No, absolutely not. That man does not get on base enough, and he's having a terrible year for the Cubs. He is not a good Moneyball guy.
Oh man. Oh,
Makes too much money too, by the way.
Justin, man, gonna miss you, dude. But Broder,
That's setting the standard of an intern, baby.
hey,
Setting the
absolutely,
standard.
absolutely did. Absolutely, and intern Chase, he's on his way too, man. It's
yeah.
only appropriate. He's in the TV booth for Black Hollywood today, man. Look at him.
Yeah, he gonna get some runs
Look
today
at him
too.
with the hat.
He gonna get some runs. we gonna get him together. Don't worry about it.
I like it, dog.
They're kind of like undrafted free agent rookies that make the Lions 53 man. We got Isaiah
love it.
Williams over here. You know what I'm saying? It's special to see these guys grow up in
Yep.
front of. I mean, I don't mean to sound like that. See them, actually put their time and effort into something they don't have. They love sports. They love working here with us. We love having them here. We know we're going to see Justin more.
Marcus
we know.
Colston was a dog.
Definitely.
I'm cool with
Hey,
that.
well, you know
comp
what?
any day.
It's been a couple days for me. I've had to wait to ask you this, Broder.
Yes.
Would you like to tell the people what we are discussing today?
Yeah, we're discussing a lot of NFL. We're talking about this 53 man roster for the Lions for the first couple segments. We got Rod Beard coming on at 8:45 with a special guest of his own, I believe. So we got 2 segments with him talking all Detroit sports, probably a lot of Lions, maybe a little Tigers. Maybe some Michigan Wolverines, because they were in the news, or at least in the Netflix news. And then we got our Woodward Pistons segment after that. We're going to finish off the show, I believe, talking about these Tigers. I saw that at the end of the rundown that Sam put together. But to kick things off, I know we're talking about this 6'4" wide receiver that the Lions are apparently signing.
Yes, something that we talked about on the show, something that the heavyweights talked about, and something that has been going around our social media was the fact that Tim Patrick was somebody who was cut by the Broncos and was available for the Lions to pick up. Probably given the fact that the Lions did have to cut Donovan Peoples-Jones because he had such a morbid preseason and probably wasn't showing a lot in training camp. I'm obviously very, very happy about this move, but do you know what this move actually tells me?
What?
It tells me that they value that big body X receiver, that they weren't just going to keep it pushing with a majority of slot guys, really good slot guys, including Amon-Ra St. Brown, the best slot guy in the NFL, Jamison Williams, who isn't a big body receiver, and then a tight end in Sam Laporta. They wanted somebody like a Tim Patrick, especially somebody who's depreciated right now, but has done things in the NFL that I would say most NFL teams would value. Another thing that this tells me, too, is that I think the Lions may have made a mistake not trying to hang on to Josh Reynolds. I'm not saying that they didn't try, but I would rather have Josh Reynolds than Tim Patrick. The fact that I'm happy about Tim Patrick is the fact that I know that I can't have Josh Reynolds, and that he is somebody who is depreciated, has missed the last couple seasons with injury, but showed a skill set with the Denver Broncos in which he had 2 consecutive 700-yard seasons with Drew Lock and Teddy Bridgewater as his quarterbacks, as a guy who's a lifetime 14 yards per catch guy and has 112 combined first downs and touchdowns in his 143 career receptions. That's a pretty valuable skill set, especially when you factor in his 6'4" size as well. But the question is he the next Emmanuel Mosley? When you have an ACL in 2022 and Achilles in 2023, it's certainly a risk. But Brad Holmes has showed that he doesn't mind making those kind of risks when it comes to injured players.
He brings just about everything you need, like everything you might be looking for in that big body receiver. Just a reliable pass catcher. I mean, his hands are his hands are the last thing you're worried about with Tim Patrick. It's just injuries. That's it. But he's reliable. He caught something, and Warren Sharp put out a tweet. I should have pulled it up first. But he caught something like 120-ish targets in a row when he was healthy in those it was back-to-back years, 2020, 2021, when he caught 700 yards apiece. They don't need him to do much. Yeah. They need 300-400 yards out of him, a red zone threat, a couple first downs here and there. The offense is going to look a little different without Josh Reynolds, but what he can bring to the table if he's healthy is exactly what they needed. And if you're really worried about anything other than injuries, where did he come from? He came from the Denver Broncos and Sean Payton. And these things happen. I know if there was something wrong with him, Sean Payton would tell Dan Campbell, hey, man,
sure.
So that just gives me a little bit of extra hope that, hey, it's something. It's something, and it could be something really good.
Yeah, it almost feels very, very deliberate, and we talked about this yesterday when Flannel, brought up the hypothetical at the time, which now is reality, and we discussed what this does for a guy like Ben Johnson. So, even though this offense will look a little bit different without Josh Reynolds, and we even talked about the fact that, hey, I know we were mad early on that drop happened for him, but yeah, we're gonna definitely miss that guy on this roster. Not that he was somebody that just absolutely was off the charts as it relates to his skill and the talent and his measurables, but you can't really overstate what that chemistry did for him out there on the field. But like you stated, bro, when you're at this position right now and beggars can't be choosers, and we're not beggars, we're talking about we're talking about like 4th or 5th helping right now, but a guy that gives you an element, like Boder said, not going to be somebody that you're looking at getting a whole ton of yards, but somebody that you can use in specific situations as a big body receiver, goal lines. I'm hoping it's something that, like I'm going to continue to say, gives defenses so much more to think about with the Detroit Lions offense. You've been planning one way, no big body receiver, right? One way for the Detroit Lions. Now you got a player that I'm hoping all these defenses are like, wait. Okay, there's a different wrinkle now that the Detroit Lions can present us.
Sure, and I think one of the most important factors for somebody like Tim Patrick, and I mentioned it yesterday, and I'm going to continue to mention it because it's the NFL and these things kind of happen, is what if somebody goes down due to injury? And I get it, talking about Tim Patrick and replacing an injured player when he's been as injured as anybody in the NFL the last couple of years, I understand how that sounds. My thing is that with the receivers that they put on the original 53-man roster with Amon-Ra, J-Mo, Khalif, and Isaiah Williams, if one of them were to go down and you didn't pursue somebody like a Tim Patrick, what are you going to do? Bring up Darius Fountain? Bring up Tom Kennedy? That doesn't really – that's not – on a Super Bowl team, on a Super Bowl expectation team, that's not good enough. You need somebody with at least the ceiling and the skill set of a Tim Patrick who can – if he ever can get back to being what he was back in 2020 and 2021, can be a guy who even for a game or two can give you 3 receptions for 55 yards, can give you 4 catches for 75 yards, can get you a couple of key first downs, can catch a couple of touchdown passes, can step in like Josh Reynolds did last year at the beginning of the year in the first 4 or 5 games when at first J-Mo was out and then in the Carolina Panthers game, Amon-Ra was out. That's what we need from Tim Patrick more than anything, because as currently constructed without Tim Patrick, I think they'd be fine if they're healthy, but who's really 100% healthy in the NFL? Nobody. You need that insurance, and that insurance is Tim Patrick, and it's going to be some damn cheap insurance.
Hey, I like the way that he just mashed in a couple different sponsors.
I know, right?
I like that.
Such a professional
company, man. But here's my question with Tim Patrick. When can we expect to see him on the field for the Detroit Lions?
I think, well, I know that he was technically signed to the practice squad, but I think he's somebody who's going to be added.
They're going to elevate him quick.
Like almost immediately.
Yeah.
Okay.
And
I think he'll dress week 1. I do.
Week 1?
I think he'll dress week 1.
Ooh.
yeah, and Dan Flea brought up a good question or a good statement or a relevant statement. Why are we getting excited about a guy who was cut and has a history of injuries? That's where we are as Lions fans now. Like, we're going to talk about it as we talk about the cuts that happen and the maybe lack of war. We'll get into that, but we're in such a good place with this roster that all we're really waiting on is a number 5 receiver. Like, that's just it's a situation we're in. We can get excited about. That's just part of where we are.
First world problems for sure.
Yes.
But as I said yesterday, it's first world problems until it's not.
Yeah.
Let Jamison Williams miss a couple of games. I'm not saying he will. I'm just saying it's possible. And then having Tim Patrick, I believe, as long as he progresses and is healthy, will look very, very important, whereas in some weeks he might not even get a target. And that's okay, by the way. At this stage of his career, with what we need from a Tim Patrick in this offense, whatever he gives you, however he contributes to the Lions winning a Super Bowl is a very good thing.
Yeah. That's well said and well stated. I think with these Lions, this is not a situation where you really want to see these guys have to step up and play roles above what you're signing them to do. But to know that Brad Holmes is already thinking ahead and making sure that this team has some depth pieces and can give Ben Johnson as well as Aaron Glenn all of the versatility in the world as the coordinators. That's what I absolutely love. And shout out to Nick Koloff, Tailgate Always Wins. Had a great couple interviews at the Feldman Otto Celebrity Children's Miracle Celebrity Invitational outing. And TJ Lang effectively kind of echoed the same sentiments, man. He believes that they have the recipe to get there. He wants them to leave the past in the past, focus on building an identity for this season, because he said they definitely have the talent.
Hey,
definitely have the talent.
Shout out TJ Lang and shout out Nick Koloff. He brings the heat and the energy on Woodward heavyweights.
Proud of him, man.
And shout out TJ Lang
Whoa.
for appearing on Woodward Sports. Wink, wink.
Shout out to TJ Lang and whoever TJ Long is. But let me tell you about something
Dick
that
Campbell,
is the
TJ
best.
Long.
Got them all. Got them all.
Hey, listen, let me tell you about something that's the best. And stick around, because we're about to get into the 53-man roster. Offense and defense, the cuts, the keeps, any surprises there. Can't wait, man. And I'm glad that we got Broder back in the house to be able to break this all down with us. Give your pet the best. Premier Pet Supplies, hands down, Michigan's best pet store. They offer you the same prices and all the conveniences of the online and the big box retailers with one major difference. They've been family and locally owned for over 30-plus years, and they carry over 60 brands of food and nutrition experts to help you. Same day, local curbside, home delivery. Premier Pet Supply, give your pet the best. Visit them online, premierpetsupply.com.
So just to get the heated steering wheel, I also had to spring for the bigger rims.
Yeah, that's how they get you. Those upgrades will cost you an arm and a leg every time.
Hey, new car crew, how'd it go this weekend? I got a great deal on mine.
How?
I went to Randy Wise, not those other guys. They got me in a great new ride, and they didn't break my budget. Hey, could you pass me the sugar?
How?
Never mind.
He made the wise choice.
Yep.
Make the wise choice at randywisechevy.com.
Can't get enough Lions coverage? Make sure you catch all Woodward sports shows every game day. Wake up with Woodward and Maine, giving you the latest insight into the Lions locker room and press conferences. Then join the Lions pregame show, highlighting key matchups, injuries, and what to watch for during the game. Follow all the ups and downs of the live game action with our Woodward Watch Party live on YouTube and woodwardsports.com. After the game, check out the instant fan and host reactions with the Lions postgame show. Every game, it's wall-to-wall, kneecap biting, high-fiving, chest-pumping Lions coverage.
Hell yeah!
Only at Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
Woodward Sports, let's go!
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week, walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
game is won in the trenches, and our big fellas don't mess around. The Woodward Heavyweights on Woodward Sports. Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and offer more products to more people. This is exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC. The same great service that customers have come to know and trust on Woodward Avenue just south of 9 Mile. Check out Les Stanford in Dearborn today at lesstanford.com. Les Stanford Chevrolet. Together, let's drive.
Let's drive Woodward Avenue. All 4 sports teams play right on Woodward Avenue in downtown Detroit. One of the most unique sports towns in all of pro sports, man, and I absolutely love it. We just got to get these teams winning. One of the ones that we don't have to worry about is the Detroit Lions. So much so, and I feel like we have to put this disclaimer out there, my guy, Flannel. And make sure you tell Paulo Frederick we say what up, though, too. But we got to put this disclaimer out there. We know that we are discussing this from a standpoint of first world problems.
Yes.
We know this. We know this. If everything stays healthy, knock on wood,
sure.
This is a squad that we've all said, and they're saying, and other pundits out there are saying, has the recipe to go out there and win a Super Bowl. That's exactly what we want to see out of this squad. Stay healthy. And I believe that the depth that they have right now allows them to stay fresher, longer, rotate some guys in at some crucial areas. And you know what? This 53-man roster gives us more clear look at that.
I mean, I think a perfect example of that, and this is where I think it's going to have universal agreement amongst all Lions fans and amongst Woodward Sports for sure. That running back room, who says no? You got Jahmyr Gibbs, you got David Montgomery, you got Sione Vaki, and you've got Craig Reynolds.
That's cooking.
That's elite.
Yeah.
And that's exactly how you would want it. Are there more questions about other rooms, like maybe the wide receiver room? Sure, but I think Tim Patrick, if he comes back and is healthy, will do a lot to alleviate that. And that's what sort of brings me to one of the points that I want to make today, because I think it played out this way. With the wide receiver room, the fact that you saw Isaiah Williams make the team as an undrafted free agent rookie, which is a hell of an accomplishment, but it looks like he earned it. The fact that you saw Donovan Peoples-Jones and Darius Fountain get cut, even though they are more of the archetype of the type of wide receiver that the Lions really needed. I mean, they signed Tim Patrick. You cannot convince me any longer that preseason is meaningless. You cannot convince me that Isaiah Williams' standout performances in preseason did not have some factor in him being on this team. You cannot convince me that Isaiah Williams' showing of being versatile, with even being at times, and I think in totality, the best kick returner and the best punt returner in the preseason, while also having the surest hands. Shout out Calhoun and Maurice Alexander for that. And being just a guy who always gets open. You can't tell me that didn't play a factor in him making this team. You can't tell me that the fact that quarterbacks had a 1.9 passer rating when targeting Donovan Peoples-Jones in the preseason had no factor in him making this team. You can't tell me that Darius Fountain, being for the most part a non-factor, didn't have a factor in him not making this team. Because I was told, and this isn't taking a shot at the heavyweights, but when they went to training camp, that Darius Fountain was this guy's obviously going to make the team. But you saw in preseason that Isaiah Williams clearly shone above the rest of them, and that's why he's on this team, in my opinion, and I couldn't be happier about it. He certainly earned it.
It's Flannel. I want to relive the moment I had when you first walked in here. Well, you beat me here, but when we first met up this morning, I was like, "Hey, man, like, what are the biggest surprises of this of these cuts?" And what'd you tell me? you were like, "It's." I'm not really like pounding the table for anyone that was cut.
No, there's not one, and we're gonna get more into the defensive angle of the 53-man roster in the next segment. But offensively, no, who's really heartbroken that Donovan Peoples-Jones got cut? And I know we discussed it yesterday, but we all saw him just look awful out there, for a lack of a better term.
If we can see it, they can.
Yes.
And his supporters are, just from a social standpoint and seeing all of the different comments. I know that dude Justin can talk on it too. We're just seeing on those posts about GPJ, people have come to grips into terms like, look, we wanted the story to work, we wanted the angle to work, but it didn't work. And I do believe that that's a sign of us as fans moving in the right direction as it relates to what to do with these Super Bowl expectations.
Yeah, and while they didn't go out and, trade for Brandon Ayuk or trade for Matthew Judon, those moves that really signal like, all right, all in for the Super Bowl, I think a lot of these cuts, while on a smaller scale, do prove that this front office, both Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell, are being much more shrewd with their decision-making. When we're talking about cutting guys like Sudfeld, cutting guys like Scott Daly, cutting guys like Shane Zylstra and James Mitchell and moves that you think, of course, Sudfeld shouldn't have made the roster, but he's a guy that they do love and they trust and they want on the team. But it's to a point now where the 53-man roster, each roster spot is way more important than having, a third stringer take up a roster spot just to hold the clipboard and help Jared Goff throughout the week, which is what I like to talk about Sudfeld as being that guy. I think they might sign him to the practice squad, but nonetheless, their ability to make those decisions and upgrade, even if just a little. This Hogan hat and this new long snapper, we're not going to spend any time on him today, but that's just a small move to move away from Scott Daly for a more versatile long snapper who can play some special teams. Little moves like that give me hope that this front office, they're making the right decisions.
Sure, and I know, and this isn't me taking a shot at you or a Nate Sudfeld. We can talk about his value as Jared Goff's liaison, and I'm not trying to be a dick. That's like, hey, I'm just saying.
He is a clipboard specialist.
We can talk about
throwing Sudfeld in the CJ-GJ bin.
CJ-GJ clears Sudfeld, obviously, but we talk about him as a practice squad guy, as somebody you could bring back, and I don't mind that. He cannot, under any circumstances, take a roster spot, take a 53-man roster spot. What if his spot would have taken the opportunity for them to go after Tim Patrick? What if he got the roster spot that what is now currently occupied by like a Brandon Joseph or a Ben Neiman or somebody like that? It cannot happen. When you are mortified of somebody ever taking a snap on the field, you can't have them on your roster. You just can't. So I was ecstatic that he didn't make the 53-man.
And that's what I meant by the CJ-GJ bin. When it was just a throwback to our one of our more epic, kind of battles in here, where we were discussing the impact, the intangibles that he brought, and you were discussing the fact that he wasn't making an impact on the field. He was injured, and that's what I was talking about as it relates to Sudfeld. And I do believe that it shows not just where Dan Campbell is. We've talked about the fact that they're willing to make the hard decisions, the tough decisions, even if that's moving on from one of their friends that they thought could originally do a job at a coaching spot. But it shows that Brad Holmes as well has done a great job. In the past, Nate Sudfeld's probably still on this roster, and some of the cuts are a little more difficult to make. But based on what you're doing in free agency, your drafts over the year absolutely panning out. Now all of a sudden you're to a point where you don't have that ability anymore to say, you know what, we'll just keep a Nate Sudfeld around. Now you have to say, you know what, we got to do what's best for this squad. Especially, we're going to continue to talk about it, depth and versatility.
Sure. Can't have Nate Sudfeld on the 53-man, and I think we all agree with this. Before we move on and go to break or go to anybody else, I just got to read this comment from my favorite person in the world, Shad.
Shad.
And I get where you're coming from, but let me explain. Victory lapping preseason is crazy coming from Sam when he said we can't victory lap training camp. Here's the difference, at least from my opinion. When I was talking about people making the team based on what they did off of a preseason and training camp as well, but also from what you saw in preseason, I'm referring to a rookie undrafted free agent making this team over Donovan Peoples-Jones. I'm not victory lapping. I'm more so explaining how or why I believed it happened. And I think that the preseason performance had something to do with it. There's no way you can tell me that it didn't. I will repeat again, quarterbacks in the preseason when targeting Donovan Peoples-Jones had a 1.9 passer rating. That's impossible, but it happened.
I love how JB Smooth just left the camera on Flannel Sam.
I just let him cook.
Just a little bit longer. Hey, let me see that 3-point celebration. Let's go.
Oh, yeah. Swag guy.
Let's go. Let's go, man.
I'm a hand the ball to the referee guy. Come on, you guys know that, except when it's Jesse Winker. Because I don't have to be consistent with my principles. Come on, we all know that. I treat everyone the same, differently.
It is
Shout out
cool to
Wing
see, man. Just looking at the 53-man roster on the offense, I believe Broder kind of summed it up right. There's nothing that really jumps off the page. Like, yo, what are they doing? Everything looks like, you know what? This team, this front office, this coaching staff, they're in complete lockstep, and the players that are there are some of the ones that we wanted to see there. I'm so glad to see that Sonny Vaki was more than just a guy we were discussing about as it relates to early potential. Obviously, now he has to still cash in on what Dan Campbell has said. We believe that this is a guy who's more than potential that he's going to be able to produce out there on the field. So when I look at the roster, though there's no surprises, there are definitely some decisions out there that I'm very, very excited about. Hendon Hooker as quarterback, too. Going out there and earning it. You know what? Not because Nate Sudfeld doesn't belong on the field, but because Hendon Hooker went out there and proved to us in his first preseason, his first real action, that he's a guy that, you know what, knock on wood, if Jared Goff goes down, could definitely hold down a series or a game. Sione Vaki being in there. I'm glad that he went out there and did his thing through preseason, especially after he had such a big presence on our draft coverage. You know, Broder, Sam, Anson, JB Smooth, everybody, man, and that's what the team is about. We're always going to try and make sure we shout out those.
Hell yeah,
that we know.
Anson was on it early.
Yeah, and so I want to ask you guys. Obviously, we're excited that people like Sam Laporta made it. But who are some of the guys that were on the fringe that, you know, on this offense that you're like, you know what, I'm glad they made it. But give me that right after the break, and we'll get into this defense as well.
Absolutely. But first, I got to tell you about Dispo. How would you like $10 of free products from Dispo Dispensary? Screenshot this image with the QR code and bring it into any Dispo location, and you'll get a free $10 to spend in-store with a minimum purchase of $25. Visit Dispo Dispensary today or disposhops.com. Dispo Dispensary, your local cannabis plug.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola, really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets?
Nobody!
The countdown to kickoff is here. Your Detroit Lions are ready for another season of grit. Woodward Sports is your #1 destination for all breaking news and Lions coverage. We are Detroit's #1 sports network. We are Woodward Sports.
The Great American Chevy Week is back and bigger than ever at Feldman Chevrolet. Choose from the largest inventory of award-winning Chevys, all priced to move for the biggest week of the year. Get this 2024 Silverado for only $213 a month, or this 2024 Equinox for as low as $249 a month. Feldman takes the Great American Chevy Week to another level. Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Thank you to all the fans for making Woodward Sports your #1 online destination for Detroit sports. We promise not to drop the ball. Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
It's fitness that fits your budget. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. There are more than 50 in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the world. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym, that has tons of equipment, friendly, knowledgeable staff, and a totally judgment-free atmosphere. Did you know that all Planet Fitness memberships include fitness training for no extra cost? Want all the perks? Upgrade to the PF Black Card and enjoy use of amenities such as unlimited use of the Black Card Spa featuring hydro massage, massage chairs, and total body enhancement, and more, along with access to over 2,500 locations worldwide and unlimited guest privileges. For more information or to join today, visit your local Planet Fitness or planetfitness.com.
And we are back. It's Wake Up Woodward. What up, though, people? Thank you for choosing to kick off the day with the WUW Crew. We got the entire squad in the building. That dude, Justin, shout out to you, man. He got to get back to school. This will be his last regular day on the show, but we're definitely going to find ways to mix him in, and he's going to be doing a lot of Red Wing stuff. But intern Chase, what up, though, brother?
Oh, your mic's off. Your mic's off.
He's training right now.
Been there.
No, still nothing.
Let me go.
I think I got it now. I got it now.
There you go. Intern Chase, man. Hold it down.
What's up, guys? How's it going?
Hey, what up, though, man? Glad to have you part of the squad. KG, that's Detroit's #1 draft pick behind him. We got WUW Sports MVP over here in the TD booth. And on the desk, Flannel Sam and Kool-Aid. And we got to get into the 53-man roster. We're talking about the defense now. Yep. The offense, I feel like that was almost like a kumbaya. Not that there's not some questions, but the defense, I do believe there's, I don't necessarily want to call it controversy, but there's definitely a lot more conversation to be had.
Well, first of all, I think most of the conversation or controversy is going to surround the defensive line. And I don't necessarily think anything is controversial. I'll tell you what I like and something that concerns me. First off, I love the fact that James Houston made the team. I have done a bit of a 180 on James Houston to where I almost have a James Houston cape on at this point because he's just, we've seen him
fly, you fool.
We've seen him use his particular set of skills in NFL games in 2022 at an elite level. And I think what James Houston brings, even if he is a one-trick pony, is something that the Lions need more than, say, a guy like Isaac Ukwu, who maybe has more of a diverse skill set and did show out in preseason, but doesn't do anything nearly as well as James Houston rushes the passer. So I'm happy about that, especially since, and we talked about this yesterday, when the DJ Reader signing was made, it was supposed to be Aiden Hutchinson, DJ Reader, Aleem McNeil, and a healthy James Houston and Marcus Davenport combining for the opposite edge rusher. That, to me, sounds not so bad if everybody is healthy. And also, and I mentioned this yesterday, I'm going to mention this again, Josh Paschal has never played a full season. Marcus Davenport has missed huge chunks of multiple seasons. If one of them goes down and James Houston was on the practice squad, who do you got at edge rusher? That's why you need somebody who has been proven in the NFL to at least get after the quarterback. Obviously, we don't want anybody to get hurt. I just want the best pass rushers on the field as often as possible, especially since we've got so many players on the defensive line, in the linebacking core, in the secondary that have proven to be astute run stoppers. They were a damn good run defense last year. We don't need a diverse skill set. We don't need like a Matthew Betts or an Isaac Ukwu, although they'd be nice to have. We want the priority to be James freaking Houston.
Because that was a particular complaint of a lot of different people out there, including Aiden Hutchinson detractors, is that, well, hey, yeah, pressures are nice, but is this defensive line going to get home as it relates to sacks? And the revisionist history stuff is a thing that kind of just weirds me out as it relates to the James Houston conversation, which I do believe it's not necessarily controversial, but there's definitely stuff to talk about. For so long, I continued to hear everybody in unison say, hey, we just want to see James Houston get after the quarterback. Hey, yo, we know what his skill is. It's after the quarterback. How is it all of a sudden now when it gets down to cut day, I'm seeing all across social media, people talking about, whoa, he's one-dimensional. The one thing that we need, right? But no, James Houston is too one-dimensional. He just gets after the quarterback. He gets after the quarterback. Well, we're right. Duh. That's why he's on this roster, and it's not just because of the potential, but like you said, like Dan Campbell said, he has game film, and we see him every single day in practice. The reason why I take a lot away from that is because we didn't see the ones like that in preseason. Sure. Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes and these guys, they've stated that, listen, we put a lot of stock into our practices, so much so that we know that they got into a little bit of trouble this year, Broder, with the practices starting early with those pads, man. Look, their culture,
Cheaters.
their way, do what you got to do to win. Do what you got to do to win.
Yes, and I want to be very clear about something before I pass it to Broder. If you have some questions about James Houston and have the opinion that he needs to show it this year, I have no problem with that whatsoever, and I would agree with you. My issue is if you don't want him on the 53-man roster. That's a completely different conversation that just escalated 0 to 60 and a 3.5. And that's always been my point, is that, yeah, he needs to show it. Yeah, the Lions had this unbelievable season last year and James Houston was a non-factor due to injury. I get it. I get it if you don't have full faith and if you're not ready to call him James Taylor or Lawrence Houston just yet. That's a joke, by the way. But he's got to be on this roster at least. He's not a practice squad player. He's an NFL pass rusher, and that's what we need.
Yeah, and even if you think he needs a couple more games to get his feet under him, if he hit the waiver wire, he's getting snatched up faster than probably anybody else out there. So you're taking the risk, more of a risk that even if you want to bring a Goudet or Ukwu or Betts back, I think it would probably be a Goudet or Ukwu. There's a better chance they make it through the waiver wire than James Houston does. So what they need, and what Ed O'Neill pointed out in the chat, there are going to be more coverage sacks this year. Like James Houston, he's a one-trick pony, and that one trick is what you need. They got plenty of tweeners on that defensive line, which makes it fun for Terrell Williams and Aaron Glenn to mess with, the Josh Pascals, the Levi O's, those kinds of guys. But on those third and longs, you need someone to just go get the quarterback, and that's exactly what James Houston does. The more I thought about it, and I had him on the fringe and actually missing the cut in my first prediction last week after he played on Saturday and after the cut happened. I'm glad they kept him. They need that. They need James Houston this year.
Listen, Shad in the chat, he said, we praise Houston for his one skill that he excelled at, but now we want to act brand new about his skill set, as if he's supposed to come back from a broken ankle with new moves and ish.
No,
that's well stated.
He's going to be fine. He just has to rush the passer. And for whatever stock you put in preseason, I thought it was big for him to have a damn good game in that last preseason game against Pittsburgh. He was the best player on the field, in my opinion, in Neil Rule's opinion as well. So that was great to see. I will say this, though, and this is where I have some questions, although, again, it could end up being first world problems. If you would have told me, I forgot when John Kaminsky was hurt, but let's just say for the purpose of this a month ago, that you'd start the season with no John Kaminsky, with no Kyle Pecco, and no Broderick Martin, I'm not saying it's, panic, like danger, Will Robinson. I'm just saying that some of the depth pieces that you expected to contribute this year are not going to be a part of it, at least initially, and in the sake of John Kaminsky, probably the whole season. They must really believe in Mekhi Wingo. They must really believe that he's somebody who they hit out the park with another 6th-round draft pick, because he might be in on one of those first rotations right away. So that's something to watch for as the regular season approaches and as we get into the regular season, is does this defensive line have enough depth up the middle?
Can I get a little conspiracy theory with you guys, or I just want to pick your brains on if you think Dan Campbell and Brad Holmes are operating this level of savvy. Do you think they held Kyle Pecco out all the preseason games to prevent him getting on film, knowing that eventually they would waive him, only to then bring him back, assuming he makes it through? I can't remember if he hits the waivers or if he's of the certain age or the certain service time, I should say, in NFL in MLB terms, to skip that. Do you think that could be the case? Because Terrell Williams knows him. They know what they're getting out of him. And he ran with the ones when DJ Reader was out all practice.
A little bit of moxie.
Are they operating like that? Like, is that a thing they would do?
It wouldn't shock me. I sat here and I talked about it. They've talked about it. How much stock that they've placed on the practices that they run, which means that they're able to go in there and make the proper assessments. When Dan Campbell utilized that type of verbiage in his press conference when answering a response about one Mr. James Houston, that's what he stated. Look, we got the film, but then he got really excited about, hey, man, as KGB said, look, I see him up against this offensive line. You know our offensive line is great. So it's just like, when you hear those types of things, I do believe that they're able to make certain types of assessments and be able to probably have a little bit of moxie and gamesmanship to try and make this work out to the best of their ability.
I want It's funny because it's Brad Holmes. Because Brad Holmes, we all know he's a sniper, he's a ninja, he's everything. I want more than anything to say that you were out from sickness, but you actually made yourself a tinfoil hat. I want to say that, but it's Brad Holmes. So he's never been one to miss out on an opportunity for gamesmanship and winning those chess matches. So I hope you're right.
Yeah.
Because I do think this team, I do honestly think, at least for depth purposes, that Kyle Pecco, even though I don't put a lot of stock in him being a super impactful player on this team, if he plays like 10 to 15 snaps a game, especially with Mekhi Wingo being a 6th-round rookie, I do think that could make a small difference.
Man, what a segment. Listen, guys, we got the legend Rod Beard. He will be joining the show. We got to talk Detroit Lions with him as well. Cut day, his perspective from the Detroit News. But I want you all to be able to make sure you get those mailbag questions ready. If you have any questions about this roster, especially on the day that we got Mr. Matthew Broder back in the building, and we still got that dude Justin in the building, hey, let's make sure that we get those questions in there, man. But hey, let's get into this next segment so we can get the legend on the line and we can talk about these Detroit Lions with him.
Absolutely. And speaking of legends, Woodward and Maine's got Terry Foster and Matt Broder.
Woo.
On game day, Detroit,
Boom.
you're
Two
waking
legends.
up with
Two
Woodward
legends.
and Maine, your source for all the insider information
Broder.
on the defending NFC champion
JB.
Detroit Lions. With insight from Detroit sports media legend Terry Foster and rising star Matt Broder. Get ready, Detroit, every game day, 8 to 9 a.m. Woodward and Maine. And then after you watch Woodward and Maine, you've got to join Woodward Sports for the best pregame coverage in Detroit. Who doesn't want to get their sports takes from Neil Rule and Sean Belich? Look at their pictures. It tells you all you need to know. It's sponsored by Sabbath Coffee and Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. Every game day, Neil Rule and Sean Belich bring you the best Lions pregame show Sunday 10 a.m. to noon on Woodward Sports, giving you all the up-to-date injury reports, fantasy sit and starts, and Detroit Lions knowledge. Delivering it as only Neil and Sean can, hence those pictures. Join us for every home game live at Second Best Bar in Detroit, your official guide to Lions game day on Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports.
At Planet Fitness, you can get everything you need for just $1 down.
Trying out Planet Fitness and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Hey, y'all better get on these free fitness training sessions from Planet Fitness.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home? Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
Join Planet Fitness today and get everything you need for just $1 down. $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends Thursday, July 18th.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
So just to get the heated steering wheel, I also had the spring for the bigger rims.
Yeah, that's how they get you. Those upgrades will cost you an arm and a leg every time.
Hey, new car crew, how'd it go this weekend? I got a great deal on mine.
How?
I went to Randy Wise, not those other guys. They got me in a great new ride, and they didn't break my budget. Hey, could you pass me the sugar?
How?
Never mind.
He made the wise choice.
Yep.
Make the wise choice at randywisechevy.com.
It's bear hunting season, and Dan Campbell is hungry for some kneecaps.
If you can just get a hold of them and you start dragging their ass out to the deep, dark abyss, you can drown them.
The Kings of the North are back for another year of the brand new Lions. Make sure you're locked in to Detroit's #1 sports network for all the news and info on your Detroit Lions.
Woodward Sports, let's go.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week, walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
Dealing with divorce, child custody, visitation, or other family law issues, Kevin and Catherine at KDK Law in Birmingham will have your back. With 10 plus years of experience and 24/7 availability, scan the QR code on the screen or call 248-971-0476. Say Woodward Sports sent you and KDK will pay your filing fee. KDK Law, they've got your back.
What up, though? KDK Law got your back. You already know. Wake Up Woodward and Woodward Sports has yours. Chat family, I hope that you guys have our back. Go ahead and hit that like button for the entire WUW crew. It's been a great show. We got Matthew Broder back in the building as well, breaking down the Lions' 53-man cuts, their final roster and their final cuts. And who better to talk about this than with the legend, Detroit News, Rod Beard. And he brought a special guest with him as well. Let me make sure that I introduce the legend first. Rod Beard, Detroit News, sports editor-in-chief. How's it going this morning, brother?
Gentlemen, happy
yes!
birthday.
Yeah!
We got sound.
Yeah! Sound!
Got it right this time.
Let's rock, man. Hey, and you brought a special guest this morning, huh? Would you like to introduce?
Yeah, this is our Pistons beat writer, Cody Davis. He has some experience covering some football with the Houston Texans and also the Houston Rockets. He does not bring the Houston hate with him in the Jalen Green, whatever Jalen Green. He's just a good dude, and he understands sports. So welcome, Cody Davis, who's going to be covering some Pistons for us, too.
Hey, Cody, definitely glad to have you on the platform, man. Hey, the crew is around, too. I see them. Broder's over there clapping up right now. He's our Tigers and our Lions writer and reporter for the network over here. And I can't wait to get into the Pistons one, too, with your perspective of the Houston rebuild, being able to contrast that with where the Pistons are in that timeline. I've seen some people kind of throw out some interesting things. But right now, we got to talk Detroit Lions, man. This 53-man roster is finalized. And just one thing for me, and Rod, I got to ask you, James Houston, for whatever reason, became this polarizing figure amongst Detroit sports fans, and I do not know why. This is a guy who we've always known who he is. And even when the team started to try and move him around to different positions, all of the expert fans and us said, hey, just let him get after the quarterback. Now all of a sudden, that's something that they're saying is why he shouldn't be on the team.
Fans are fans, man. Can you listen to fans on everything? No, it's people who really understand the nuance of what's going on. And if that dude just rushes the quarterback and he produces, let him do that. I like what the Lions are doing in some of these cases in saying we're going to look at potential in some players and we're going to look at actual production in other players. And we know what James Houston does. Let's go with production there.
I couldn't agree with you more, Rod. And I want to pose this question to you, Rod, and you, Cody, as well. Will the Lions end up missing Josh Reynolds at all this season? Or are you satisfied that somebody like Tim Patrick and the others will be enough to fill that role?
Go ahead, Cody.
I think so. You know, I mean, you take a look at the success that the Lions had last year, 12-5, and you take a look at the fact that they went all the way to the NFC Championship game. The one thing that I always look at, like, you want to try your hardest to try to keep that core together, and the fact that that's one of their core pieces that kind of, you know, that they let go, it's a little bit unfortunate.
Yeah, and I think you got to have an extra option there. So if Tim Patrick ends up being that guy, sure. But you still got to scour the waiver wire and see what other options are out there to get you a big body to try to do something. I was just surprised at DPJ that, again, that's another one of those. There's potential, and we talked all preseason about what he could do on the field. What did he do in the preseason? Not enough, so we're just going to move on and try something different.
Yeah, Rod and Cody, I want to ask you, too, about Hendon Hooker. Are you confident with him, given that we know that the Lions are carrying two quarterbacks and he is the no-doubt backup? Are you confident that he is a player that can win you a couple of games or at least steady the ship to some extent if Jared Goff, God forbid, has to go down with a short-term injury?
I like Hendon Hooker.
Were we watching the same preseason? Like, this dude won 2 preseason games. Like, that's in the games where he played significantly. Absolutely. That the legs, we talked about the legs and being able to run and create opportunities. He did that. He led the offense. He didn't look shaky and just have a bunch of really bad picks like we've seen from backups in the past. I feel as confident in Hendon Hooker as I have in any backup that the Lions have had in years.
Rod, I got to ask you about a documentary on Netflix that focused on our hometown, our Ann Arbor. Hey, what'd you think about the documentary, and how involved were you? I know Tony Paul on your team had a big part in it. What was that like, and what'd you think of the outcome of Untold, Sign Stealer?
Tony's involvement in that was like my involvement in the whole thing. It was like Connor Stallions. Like, he's this shadowy figure. Tony told me, like, maybe a week or two ago that he was doing this, and that's part of the contractual thing, is that they just couldn't say that they were involved in it or what they talked about or anything else. And I get it. I've been on game shows before where you can't say whether you won or lost because it's going to spoil the outcome for people who might watch it. So it's that same sort of deal where he said, "Oh yeah, I was in the Connor Stallions thing." Wait, what? How is this even a thing? But I think it tells some more of the story, and I think it's the first time that Connor was able to get out and get his story out there, and people can judge for themselves what they believe and how much involvement they think he actually had in all of this. It's just kind of, whenever you get things like that made, it's just kind of weird that you don't know until the very last minute what's going on.
Fair. And how are you feeling going into the season? I know they just dropped they were handed the NOA, and they have 60 or 90 days to respond. Do you think that'll affect the season at all, or do you think this team's going to hit the ground running this weekend against Fresno State?
I think as much as they can deflect that is going to be the key here. And I mean, look at Jim Harbaugh. That dude just played this whole thing masterfully, like Houdini. Like, this thing is, these NOAs are about to drop. Let me be up out of here and break out. And I'm going to the Chargers. And this stink doesn't get on me at all. Like, that's the masterful way that Jim Harbaugh played it. But I think for this team, the expectations are not going to be nearly as high because you're coming off a national championship and you don't have most of your core back. If they make the playoff this year, I think that's a successful season for them. But the big key will be, let's try to avoid the distractions and the off-field stuff, even though the NOA is coming.
Hey, you know what? Keep that noise down. But you know what? One team that refuses to go away and be quiet, man, I got to shift gears just a little bit. It's the Detroit Tigers, Rod. Our chat is going to riot if we don't talk about the Detroit Tigers, right? 67-66, okay? For the longest, they were going through a nice hot stretch, and I continue to sit here and look at Flannel and say, bro, but they're still 9 games back. They were making no strides. For whatever reason now, over like the last 3 to 5 games, now they're 5.5 back in this wild card race. 1 game over 500. What do we make of the Detroit Tigers? Clearly, that trade deadline also it wasn't as bad as many people thought it was initially.
Yeah, can we do a take back? Can we get Flaherty back and have another good start for this last little run here? So I think they are in the thick of it, but now you need to maintain this and do this for another couple of weeks so you can turn that 5.5 into 2.5, and then maybe we can talk about it. 5.5 isn't even I'm mildly interested. 2.5 or 3 is kind of, you got 1 good week and you're in the wild card position. So it's just trying to sustain this. We knew the bats would kind of heat up and the offense would, but to also keep this in perspective, let's look at who they just played. It's the Cubs. It's the White Sox. If you don't sweep the White Sox, I got questions now. So how many more times do they play the White Sox? How much can they sustain this confidence and this momentum that they're building and be able to beat good teams? They got Baltimore coming up. If they sweep the Orioles, then we can really talk. But look at the level of competition that they're playing. Look at the ability to, are these bullpen days that they're putting together, are they winning those games, winning the school bowl games, and then maybe splitting the other 2? That's what you got to start watching the next couple of weeks or so.
Yes, Rod, and I want to piggyback off of that Tigers talk. And Cody, I want to get you in on this as well. I want to pose this to both of you. So we've seen the Tigers. One of the most exciting things is that it's a lot of the young guys. It's guys that are playing well now, guys who have been all-stars now, and guys who we think are going to be a part of this team when they are ready to win moving forward. Are we starting to see a more developed and more obvious core for this Tigers than even what we knew a couple of weeks ago?
I'm going to say yes, only because from the outside looking in, it kind of reminds me a little bit, and I hope I don't get killed in the comments for saying this, but it kind of reminds me of the Houston Astros during that mid-2000 and 2010, you know, when you started seeing people like Jose Altuve and all the rest of these guys, you know. This season's, like I said, from the outside looking in, this is what it reminds me of, because you are starting to see those young guys finally put it together. And look, once again, I hope I don't get killed in the comment section, but we saw what they was able to do. Look, in 17, but of course, again, I believe it was in 2022 when they had an opportunity to win not 1 but 2 World Series. So I definitely believe that the Tigers definitely have a bright future ahead of them.
Hey, you know what, Cody? Bringing the heat already, man. Rod, we got to get your take on that right quick. But you know what? That perspective from the outside looking in, seeing that rebuild, I cannot wait to get your perspective in the next one because you saw it happen with the Houston Rockets. What up, though, Rod?
Yeah, I think for the Tigers, you want to see these young guys, because we've heard so much about these guys in years and years and years. In Scooball, it was sort of, I remember going down to Erie and covering a Scooball game and like, okay, this kid has it. In 3-4 years, when they get him up to Detroit and he starts to figure out on the major league level, these contributions are going to be huge. But you're riding mostly young guys right now. And is that sustainable? History says typically no. You need a couple of vets in there. But we'll see. I mean, you almost got a deadline acquisition with Torque coming back and now being a masher. So I think that's something to keep an eye on too.
Definitely. Hey, look, this has been heat today. Glad to have Broder back. Glad to have Cody joining the broadcast as well as the legend Rod Beard. We got one more segment on the way and a lot more Detroit sports talk. And also get those mailbag questions in. This has been awesome. But let me tell you about something else that's awesome. So where a guy can be a guy and get an amazing haircut, that is Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. All you got to do, stop in, sit back, and relax, and let one of Lady Jane's talented hairstylists make you look and feel great. Walk in anytime, 7 days a week. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
At Planet Fitness, you can get everything you need for just $1 down.
Try out Planet Fitness and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Hey, y'all better get on these free fitness training sessions from Planet Fitness.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home? Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
Join Planet Fitness today and get everything you need for just $1 down. $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends Thursday, July 18th.
For you, customized solutions from real experts. Our professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. It's 24/7 professional monitoring. So you can call us anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone with you as long as needed because it is technology that is backed by people. Your safety and your security, it deserves technology that's been proven to work and people who've been proven to care. All you got to do is call this number right here, 1-800-STAY-OUT. Once again, that number, 1-800-STAY-OUT. Hey, FAB is back in the building. Welcome back to one Matthew Broder. It's great to have you in the
so
building.
Excited
brother.
to be back.
Hey, let's rock, man.
Let's
you
rock.
know what? It is the Woodward Pistons segment, so we got to get the legend drum rolled in here. Hey, Cody, if you don't know, brother, we do the drum roll for the legend Rod Beard. Not just a great professional, not just a heralded professional, but he's a great person as well. Let's rock. Hey, yo! Shout out and welcome to the legend Detroit News, Rod Beard. And you know what? You got to kick things off with Rod's thoughts.
I mean, my thought is an easy one for today. It's getting Cody Davis on board. I feel really good about it. When he did his interview, he had like a notebook full of story ideas, Piston story ideas.
Wow.
We're like, wait, what? How do you have a list of ideas already done? So I think he's going to really jump in here and bring a renewed energy, some focus, and a different mindset from out of town that we haven't seen. So I'm really happy to have Cody here.
Hey, and definitely, Cody, welcome, brother. Definitely happy to have you here as well. Can't wait to meet you in the media room. It's going to be an epic season. I kind of looked up and realized preseason starts in about a month and a week, a month and a half, maybe. That means that training camp is just weeks away. It's going to be a dope time, man. Can't wait. And the media room is dope. But, hey, any thoughts before I ask you a couple questions here?
Yeah, first and foremost, thank you guys for having me. I'm thrilled to have an opportunity to cover the Detroit Pistons for the Detroit News. And I do want to say this, and I know I might get killed in the comment section. And I understand that this has been a rough time for Pistons fan, but from the outside looking in, I guess I could say I'm in now, but from the outside looking in from afar, looking at all of the changes that the Pistons made this offseason, I do believe that this is going to be a very encouraging, a very optimistic season. I love the move that the Pistons did. They got new voices in the office, on the coaching staff. And to be honest with you, I understand this is a franchise that won, 32, combined 31, 32 games over the last 2 seasons. This young core is still pretty good in my opinion, man. So, the fact that they added veterans and the fact that, I'm pretty sure, I can't wait to meet these young guys, but I'm pretty sure they're almost like the Rockets, is to the point that they're tired of losing. I think this 2024-2025 season is going to be a good one for this organization.
Welcome to the room, Cody. Welcome to the Rod is not a liar. I can tell you that, man. Rod, knower of good people, man. Hey, and listen, shout out to another person. I don't know if you got the opportunity to meet him yet. Omari Sankofa and my guy Bryce Simon of the Detroit Free Press and the Pistons Pulse podcast. They're able to talk to, I call him one of the NBA kind of greats as it relates to analysts, Keith Smith. And he actually believes that the Detroit Pistons in this year actually have the perfect recipe to potentially make the play-in game. Because you got a deep draft. You have some teams that are kind of in that middle that are going to make the decision to plunge. But you got a Detroit Pistons team, like you stated, is tired of losing, man. What do you think about that? You, from the outside looking in, you've already seen this with Houston. You saw them kind of go through their renaissance. The Pistons and the Rockets, Rod and I covered this thing 2-3 years back, were at the same level. And then they made some decisions to bolster their young core with some veterans, brought in the right coach, made a few tweaks to the front office, and then boom. We're hoping that that's what we're seeing with the Detroit Pistons right now. You spoke on a little bit more. Do you mind elaborating?
Yeah, and I believe so. And look, I know a lot of people are going to hear this and think to themselves, well, of course, this is just an outsider just trying to be positive, because he's on a new beat, which that might be true to a certain degree. But the only thing is, I've seen this covering the Houston Rockets. I mean, when I started covering the Rockets, I was only around James and Russell Westbrook for a little bit. By the time they started letting me come inside Toyota Center and being around the team and the coaches and developing myself, James was already gone. Russ was already gone. Fortunately, Stephen Silas got put in a situation that he did not get hired for. And I watched that organization basically just revamp itself. They tore itself down. You brought in some young players, some promising young players. And last year, I watched this organization, unfortunately, departed from Stephen Silas, but you brought in Ime Udoka, who brought a very good dynamic and a very good voice, a new needed voice to that organization. You had young guys like Elpy, Jalen Green, Jabari, Tari, all of these young guys that was tired of losing. But the biggest thing that the Houston Rockets did, they brought in veterans. Fred, Dylan, Jock Landale, Jeff Green. Those 4 veterans was an additional coach for those young guys. And I literally watched the beginning of the season was a little bit rocky, but after the All-Star game, that's when you saw this Houston Rockets team take off. And I don't know how much you guys saw the Rockets after the All-Star game, but it was that time in March where they won like 10 to 12 games in a row. And even before that stretch, especially when Jalen Green just went like Kobe Bryant 2.0. I don't know what got into him in the month of March. But even when you had an opportunity to see these young guys take that leap, remember before Alperen Sengun got hurt, there were several times where we used to talk to him during practice and after practice. He used to say, man, Fred and Jeff Green, they're on my behind. Same thing with Jabari, same thing with Jalen. And to be honest with you guys, at first, I was like everybody else, you bring in veterans, they're not going to make that much of a difference. But being around the Houston Rockets last year, especially what Fred and Jeff and Jock and Dylan brought to their organization, what they brought to the locker room, it changed the whole entire vibe. It changed the outlook, and it helped the Houston Rockets get from one part of their rebuilds to the next phase. And then when I'm taking a look at from what the Detroit Pistons did when I was still in Houston, now I get an opportunity to cover it in person. I truly believe that the Pistons will have an opportunity to take that step. You brought in a new head coach who I think is really good in JB Bickerstaff, and you got some veterans, some really good veterans like Tobias Harris that's going to come in, and we're going to see them have that same impact inside Little Caesars Arena, just like what I saw last year inside the Toyota Center.
Hey, let's go. I'm going to kick it over to Flannel real quick, but just there was a couple different things that you stated that look like direct parallels. Obviously, the Pistons are finally going out there, and they got those types of vets that we believe are going to help this young core and actually play, not be injured, which is something that the Houston Rockets did. We saw them move on from a coach that probably was not fit for that job in Silas. We see the Pistons right now moving on from Monty and bringing in a coach like a JB Bickerstaff, similar to Ime Udoka, who has been known to coach up and to develop and to be able to have good success taking teams from nowhere to somewhere. And that is JB Bickerstaff with this Detroit Pistons team. So I see the parallels, man. And as with a name like Detroit Kool-Aid, I'm definitely in on the optimism. I definitely am. What up, though, Flannel?
Hey, Cody, you mentioned about how guys like Dylan Brooks and Fred VanVleet, how they had an impact on a rising star like Alperen Şengün in Houston. What type of impact do you think a Tobias Harris, a Malik Beasley, a Tim Hardaway Jr. will have on our own up-and-coming star, Cade Cunningham?
I think it's going to be the same. And the one thing that I started to notice last year, and I also saw this when I was covering the Houston Texans as well, when you have a veteran that's well-respected, they can actually bring out something more in your young guys. And what I mean by this, look, we all, been raised by our parents and stuff. And our parents can be like, hey, don't do A, B, and C. You'll listen, but you kind of get tired of that voice, and you're still going to do your own thing. But at the same time, when you have like an older sibling or a favorite cousin or, one of your best friends that's telling you that same message, now you're going to listen a little bit more and it's going to register, and then you're going to have the opportunity to take that next step in life. It's just like that in sports. I literally watched Jalen Green, being told by whether it was Silas, whether it was Ime Udoka at one point. Because at one time, I ain't think Udoka and Green was going to make it. But, them preaching, the same, don't do this on the court, do this on the court. Wasn't really registering it. But once I saw someone like Dylan Brooks, once I saw somebody like Fred VanVleet telling Jalen to do the exact same thing, now it's coming from a peer. Now it's coming from somebody that's like, oh, it's a different voice. Not only is the coach telling me this, but my vet is telling me this. We saw him take that jump after the All-Star break. And I truly do believe that it's going to be the same exact thing when you take a look at the teachings that Tobias, Malik Beasley, Tim Hardaway Jr., the teachings that they're going to bring inside their locker room. It's going to help somebody like Cade, Jaden Ivey, Jaden Durham, like Asar Thompson, like just having that additional voice, especially veterans that not only wants to come to a rebuilding organization, but they want to be part of the change. That is where the difference is definitely going to be.
Man, you know what? That right there is the word. The fact that they wanted to be here, Tobias Harris, Beasley, they all spoke about saying, you know what, we love the vibes. They spoke to their admiration of a guy and a leader like JB Bickerstaff, as well as the fact that they're like, no, we know that Trajan Langdon is that dude as well. Rod, we've talked about it a lot as it relates to kind of one voice, and is it going to be Trajan's front office? And so far, so good. Before we kind of wrap up the segment, there was one kind of less heralded, I think mildly celebrated, but everybody appreciated it, player that I think has an opportunity to play a big role. We're talking about all the different young players, and I want to later on have these conversations with you, Cody, as well, Rod, talking about Cade Cunningham and the impact we think he'll make, big contract, big expectations. But Paul Reed, I haven't heard a lot of people make too much of a fuss about it, but Bleacher Report's Grant Hughes actually believes that Paul Reed is going to have a huge season. And just kind of your perspective on NBA, both Rod and Cody would love to be able to hear you guys' opinion on this. He says because Reed, now a Piston after being waived by the cap-clearing Philadelphia 76ers, is a mobile Swiss defender who hoards blocks and has graded out as one of the most prolific steal mavens of the last 4 years. Man, I love the fact that Hughes is that great of a writer. But the 25-year-old's worst percentile ranking in steal rate among bigs since joining the league, 85th last season. In addition to ending opponents' possessions, Reed extends those of his own team. There aren't many better offensive rebounders in the game today. Just can you just for our audience, for our Woodward Pistons and our Woodward Sports audience and our Wake Up Woodward audience, just break down a little bit of what you know about Paul Reed as well. The impact you think he'll be able to have with this squad.
Me or Cody?
Hey, we'll start with you and then get Cody's perspective as well.
So if the way that it's looking right now, who is Paul Reed playing next to in the front court?
Duren?
Isaiah Stewart? In that second unit?
In the second unit, yeah, Stewart.
In the second, so if you got Stewart and we know what Stu is, and you got Paul Reed who's going to be that same type of versatile, switchable big, I mean, that could be something. Depending on how the rotations go and who you play them with, what the combinations are, I think you could have more of a defensive group. Let's say Asar Thompson is in that second group. You got an almost all defensive, and as soon as I say almost all defensive, people are going to say, well, who's going to score the ball in that group? You figure it out. So a lot of this, the talent that's there, part of the issue is going to be JB figuring out who plays with who, how do we get that balance of offense and defense. But you see some combinations there where you can have a lot of different looks that you throw at the other team, where you're going to go heavy defense with your bigs, your guards are out there scoring. You have three-point shooting available to you. I think Paul Reed is going to bring some intensity that maybe they didn't have last year in that second group.
Hey, definitely. And Cody, man, hey, let's get your thoughts and your words on Paul Reed, Detroit Pistons backup four.
He's part of the reason why I think the Pistons definitely going to take a leap in their defense next year, especially considering, like Rod just said, you have a head coach that's in JB Bickerstaff who's definitely going to, it's going to be up to him to figure out those rotations to see who works well with somebody. However, you're also taking a look at the fact that he's coming to a team with a head coach like JB Bickerstaff, who is known to, elevate the defensive talent of almost every single team that he has been at the helm of. And look, Paul Reed, I consider him one of the best, I would say underrated defensive players in the league, but I definitely think, coming here to the Detroit Pistons, knowing that, of course, without a shadow of a doubt, I think he's going to have a bigger role. The Pistons will definitely get the better version of what he's going to have an opportunity to bring to the court.
Man, listen, the optimism. I'm loving it. Pistons basketball is right around the corner. Thank you for joining us. Cody Davis, Detroit News Pistons beat writer, and Rod Beard, as always, the legend, Detroit News sports editor-in-chief. Man, you guys bring the heat. Rod, you got one, bro.
Hey, he will light you up. He got some info, and he's already done his homework. He knows what's going on.
Hey, any last words from you? Either of you?
No. I think it's what you said, that we got a couple more weeks before we get to training camp. And I'm just excited, again, to see how some of this stuff starts shaking out and the decisions that they're making and just what we see from the players and what they've improved with over the summer.
Yeah, hey, awesome. Can't wait to be in the gym with you, Cody. It's going to be an awesome time. Thank you guys both for joining the show. You guys stay tapped in with Detroit News. As always, they got great writers, great people over there, great reporters. Thank you guys for your time. Have a great day.
Thank you guys.
All right. You too. Appreciate it, guys.
Hey, man, awesome time with Rod Beard as always. Let me tell you about something else. Now more than ever, it is critical for you to have your insurance reviewed. Swiss Insurance to make sure that your current carrier is not slipping in anything extra.
Take that.
Especially no fees. So call Mark at Swiss Insurance today, 313-530-1698, or visit them online, SwissINS.com.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
We are the network for Detroit by Detroiters. Welcome to the Woodward Sports Network.
Braylon Edwards here, Premier Pet Supply. Man, just looking around, who's got it better than pets? Come on, a baby stroller for Coda? A chef for Lola? Really? You don't have to tell me who the real boss here is. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody, especially here at Premier Pet Supply. For over 30 years and more than 13 locations, Premier Pet Supply has everything that your pet can dream of, and guess what? It's all under one roof. Premier Pet Supply, family owned, operated, and proud to call Metro Detroit home. Check out premierpetsupply.com or scan the QR code today. Who's got it better than pets? Nobody!
Hey, did somebody say merge? Look, head over to woodwardsports.com, click on that shop tab. We are dropping new designs every single week for you. You know we got the Stoke Not Scared shirt, which I know you already got right now, but we also got the hashtag Boo Them Kids that you should be wearing week 1 when Kelly Stafford brings her kids to Ford Field once again. And you can't forget about the Woodward Tigers as well either. Hey, look, over 500. Come on now, we're coming back. woodwardsports.com, click on that shop tab, get swagged out.
Oh, you motherfuckers. Okay. All right. I'm putting cases on all you bitches. Huh? You think you can do this shit? Jay! You think you can do this to me? You motherfuckers will be playing basketball in Pelican Bay when I get finished with you. You program 23-hour lockdown.
Fired up! Boy, I'm fired up, boy. That boy KG yesterday was defending his Detroit Tigers fandom, man. Absolutely defending. Hey, JB, well done, man. I think that the bat can rejoin. It can rejoin the dust now. The Detroit Tigers, man, 6-2 win over the Angels. 1 game over 500, 5.5 back in the wild card race, and we keep saying this. Hey, you know what? If they get closer, right? We keep saying that. We keep saying, hey, if they keep winning, then we're gonna have to talk. Bro, they're 5.5 back. They were just 9 back.
Yep.
And I don't see any signs really of slowing down.
They picked up 4 games in 4 days. That's damn near impossible to do unless you sweep the team that you are directly challenging, but that's not what happened.
Bro, I'm snorting all the orange Kool-Aid now.
Well, how could you not at this point? Because you're getting the young guys, which is what we all wanted. You're not seeing Javi Baez in the lineup, although I hope he has a clean bill of health next year, just not for the Tigers. We're not seeing the Badus and like the Gio Urshela's. We're seeing the young guys really step up and show out. And I feel like I do this every single game, but I'm going to go through this routine once again because I just love to do it. Who had the leadoff triple that led to the Tigers' first run?
Parker.
Who singled in the second run? Kerry Carpenter. Who hit the home run to extend the lead from 1-2? Riley Green. Who hit the dagger 2-run home run to put the game out of reach?
Kerry Bonds.
Kerry Bonds. Thank you. Kerry Bonds. Who started the game and pitched well enough to win? Brant Herter. And you may put as much stock in Brant Herter as you want, but right now in the MLB Top 100 and the Tigers Top 30, he is rated as a better pitching prospect than even Ty Madden. And the fact that you've got Ty Madden starting and then Brant Herter starting, which means you have starters on this team instead of just perpetual bullpen days that can get you through to when Casey Mize comes back, which he is coming back, and to when Reese Olson comes back and he just completed a bullpen session. And also, one thing that I have loved to see from this team, at least in the month of August, and I think it's been a direct catalyst in this team going on a run, and I get it with the caveat of an easy schedule. It's the fact that at the beginning of the season, who were the 2 biggest disappointments? Spencer Torkelson and Parker Meadows. They got sent to the minors for crying out loud, but in the month of August, they're both playing really, really well. I would say that you could argue in the month of August, just in the month of August, your 3 best offensive players, 2 of them are Parker Meadows and Parker Meadows and Spencer Torkelson to go along with Colt Keith. I love seeing it. And I love the fact that you can now say that the Tigers are playing meaningful games in August going into September, and you got 2 more against the lowly Angels. Really, it would really behoove them to get this sweep.
Yeah, and there's no need for there to be this disconnect between people who are rooting for a playoff berth or just watching this team for all the other great stuff that's going on right now. Like Megan Hindi points out perfectly, Tigers are chasing 2 teams for a wild card. They are. Whether you think they can make it in or not, they are. Scoob, Cy Young winner.
And they are making gains.
Yeah, Scoob is chasing a Cy Young. Colt Keith is working his way into the Rookie of the Year conversation. We get to see these young guys actually play meaningful baseball, good baseball, exciting baseball, learning how to win against, well, I was about to say against decent teams. That's the key. They've been beating the bad teams. They've been beating the teams that they should beat, even with players called up from AAA. So they do have the benefit of playing the White Sox a handful of times. They got the Angels for, 2 more games. So it's a team I enjoy watching. If they sneak into the playoffs, great. I think it's a long shot, but hey, I'm not rooting against it. I'm just watching these young guys play. Yep. It's so much fun. Seeing Parker Meadows come into his own, like I can't remember if I tweeted it out before. When he's on the field, even if he doesn't get on base, he's a game changer because of his defense and the things he can do. But when he gets on base, it's almost franchise altering what he can do to this lineup, especially with the production of the guys behind him. When you see Colt Keith, Riley Green, Carpenter, it's fun. It's fun to me, boys.
Yep. And you know what, man? I got 2 numbers for you, 9 and 8. Does that mean anything to you all?
Whew. What are we?
Hey, listen, the Detroit Lions, 9-8 record. This is what the season is starting to take shape as for me with the Detroit Tigers, where you can start to see that foundation is definitely there, and they're building on top of it already. That's what I like about this Detroit Tigers run right now, is that whether you believe that they're going to make the playoffs or not, who would have discounted the 9-8 records in the 9-8 season that the Detroit Lions had? Or did everybody say, you know what? We know that the Detroit Lions, they're on the way. They're on the way. I don't believe that the Detroit Tigers are necessarily a year away from having the type of success that the Detroit Lions did the next season after. But I do believe that it shows that this is success that you can believe in with the players that are going to be around, with them making the decisions that for half a season we were like, yo, can they please get rid of Javi? Can they please do X, Y, and Z? Now they're doing these things, and it looks like Harris is able to have a little bit more of his fingerprints on the identity of this team and the makeup of it as they go forward. Just got to see. Well, you know what? Now skip that. Whether or not Chris Ilitch will open up the wallet or not, Harris has a job to do.
Hey, you don't have to open up the wallet if you want to get Jesse Winker, because he will be cheap. Imagine him on this team right now.
All roads lead to Winker.
Look at that career on base percentage.
Hey, yo.
And he can hit walk-offs, too, and he can celebrate WWE style. But I just want to get into a couple of these comments. This is from Jerry Alexander. He takes a little bit of exception to what I said to them having an easy schedule. Not really an easy schedule. They swept the Mariners and took 2 or 3 against the Yankees. Here's where my point is when it comes to easy schedule. We're not having this conversation if they don't go into Chicago and sweep probably the worst team in MLB history, the Chicago White Sox. And I'm one that values those wins. You had to sweep them, and you did. Congratulations. That's more what I refer to when I'm talking about an easy schedule. It's more of an easy stretch of the schedule. And there's a couple of people, including my favorite person in the world, Shad, who are really mad at me for glazing over the Jake Rogers home run. Congratulations. That was a nice home run. For real. Look at his offensive numbers. His greatest value to this team is being Tarek Skubal's personal catcher. Although, speaking of catchers, one guy who hasn't really worked out so far has been Dylan Dingler. But we're not going to talk about him. But you have that luxury because Riley Green's back and he's playing well. Kerry Carpenter's back and he's playing well. Spencer Torkelson's playing well. Parker Meadows is playing well. Colt Keith is playing well. And if you want me to add another person who has been such an unsung hero to this team, how about Matt Vierling?
Yeah.
Matt Vierling has a 751 OPS. Matt Vierling is going to be on this team when they are ready to win, because there are going to be stretches where, a team suffers injuries. I mean, we've seen it with Riley Green and Kerry Carpenter. They're unfortunately kind of labeled as injury prone right now. Matt Vierling can play almost every single position on the diamond. And if somebody needs a day off, if somebody goes down, hey, if they need somebody who can just be on the bench and DH and rake, Matt Vierling is going to be that guy. Because over the last 2 seasons in totality, the 3 most consistent Tiger hitters, Kerry Carpenter, Riley Green, and Matt Vierling. And Matt Vierling has been more available than those other 2. So I got to give a shout out to him. I can't even call him a utility player. He is an everyday player, a very good everyday player with a utility player-like skill set. He's like a utility player on steroids.
Yeah, and I think he's a great utility player for a team in contention. When the Tigers are maybe it's next year. He's that guy that you can plug and play in various spots. Not McKinstry, not calling up Kreidler. It's Vierling. He can play all three outfield spots. He can play the infield a little bit. He's a incredible 7th or 8th hitter that you bring off your bench. I just don't want him as your number 3 hitter all season long. He's done a pretty damn good job these last couple months, don't get me wrong. But he's that piece, that extra piece on a contender that puts you over the top. I'm with you. Herb Nash brought up a really good question. Looking back, should they have been buyers at the deadline, or in hindsight, were they?
No. Oh, what? Oh, that.
I like that last part. Yep.
I am so. I apologize for not waiting.
Let it fly.
It's
a great question.
Musket.
The correct. Shout out, JB.
Bang.
The correct.
I'll wait for nobody.
The correct answer is no and no. No, they shouldn't have bought, and no, they didn't buy. What they did was they sold smartly. They were able to get a return. I mean, Trey Sweeney, he hasn't been a world beater or anything, but he's been a player who's made some big hits. He's been a starting shortstop for a lot of the games.
So you give it an F then, huh?
No, absolutely not. I think, and I'm not even saying that Scott Harris or anybody had the foresight. I just keep having to look back to Parker Meadows and Spencer Torkelson coming back and looking like core members is huge for them. That, to me, has made them able to withstand having to sell some pieces like a Mark Cano or a Carson Kelly and losing like a Wensiel Perez. So, no, they didn't buy they didn't indirectly buy, and no, they shouldn't have bought. But just imagine if this happens. And they've got a lot of winnable games coming up, and Cleveland and Minnesota are kind of sputtering right now. And you play Kansas City head-to-head later. Imagine this. Imagine if the Tigers sell successfully and still make the playoffs.
Right?
It's on the table, guys. It's on the table.
And that's the nuclear option, but what I do believe people need, and you guys have done a great job at painting this picture, what people need to grasp hold of is this. The Tigers sold successfully and are having success. Whether they make the playoffs or not, this thing is finally moving in a direction that we want it to be moving in. Not wondering what's going to happen with the young guys, but finally seeing some of these players that we've been assessing for some time, we at least get the answers. And some of these guys are paying the dividends that we want, and they are contributing to what this team is doing. I like what the Tigers are doing right now, man. I really do.
Yes, and you know what's funny, too? Because he hasn't pitched lately, we haven't, or at least he hasn't pitched in the last couple of games. We've gone an entire Tigers segment and talked about how they're on this winning streak, how they've gotten back into the wild card race, how the young guys are producing, and we haven't even mentioned the fact that they have the best pitcher in the American League. If you look at what Tarek Skubal has done this season,
sexy.
And I'm not saying that it's going to be the case moving forward, but for the totality of this season, on the macro level, Tarek Skubal has been damn near an automatic win when he starts.
My man brought Frederick Polo out in the flannel.
and we haven't even talked about him. And here's the great thing. The Tigers have 2 more games against the Angels, a morbid Angels team, no Mike Trout. If they win those games, do you know who starts game 1 against the Red Sox? Tarek Skubal.
Let's go.
They are well on their way to... I said before this homestand that they got to go 5-1, and that's a really, really tall task. But when you win game 1, when you see contributions, home runs from Riley Green and Kerry Carpenter, when you see somebody emerge as somebody who can maybe, a couple guys, if you count Ty Madden, as guys who can maybe actually log starts, while Casey Mize is still on the injured list and Reese Olson is still on the injured list, the path to 5-1 in this homestand is very, very clear. The path to doing quick work with teams like Oakland and Colorado and Chicago again becomes a very clear, and holding steady in the 6 games that you have against Baltimore. That is going to be very, very tough. Man. But I'm confident that the Tigers can at least finish this season with a range of 83 to 87 wins. Will that get you a wild card spot? Time will tell. But they picked up 4 games in 4 days. If you think I'm going to gloss over that and not talk about it, you're crazy.
Yeah, not that the Pirates offense is anything to write home about, but I love that Ty Madden got his first career start against the Chicago White Sox versus like a Kiter Montero going against Paul Skeens in his major league debut. There's some things that Ty Madden needs to work on, but going against that lineup, he was able to have some success while still struggling a little bit. But let's take a minute, and I think there's a man who deserves some flowers, partially because this pitching rotation has been one of the best in the last month. And with all these young guys, they're having this success. We got to shout out AJ Hinch.
I was about to say, is it who I think you're about to say? Crazy Clown just put in the chat, I have faith in AJ Hinch.
Yeah, we even on this show, we've been up and down. We've been riding the waves with AJ Hinch. We've been high. I know, Sam, you've been critical. We've all been critical at points, and I think it's been due. It's been just. But what he's been able to do with this team to muster against any team, to put together this stretch, is impressive for a manager to do.
Yeah, and yes. No. If you couldn't hear Justin in the background, I will admit there was a time early in the year where I called for AJ Hinch to be fired. I will sit on the sword today and say that I was 100% wrong. Did I question some of his? Lineup decisions at the beginning of the year? Yes, and I stand by them. But you nailed it, Broder. When you have all of these injuries at the starting pitching position, when you lose literally Casey Mize, Reese Olson, and Jack Flaherty, the first due to injury and a Flaherty due to being traded, and you're still able to manage the bullpen the way that AJ Hinch has, I give all of the credit in the world, and I look like a damn fool right now. Shout out AJ Hinch.
Here's a quick question. Is it having faith in AJ Hinch or having faith in Scott Harris in the farm system? I believe that it's both. If you have an owner like Chris Ilitch, I think that you want a manager and you want a guy like Scott Harris in our front office. Because why? Because you're going to have to find a way to get the best value out of every single player that you bring in here if Chris Ilitch is not going to open up that book. Those two guys have to work in tandem. And I think it is very, very fair to be critical because how much more pressure is on them? No, for right now, not that things can't change, but for right now, for all intents and purposes, there's no more big money bats or checks or this or that. So those two guys, is there a GM right now that they can go out there and get that you think can handle the small ball talent better? Is there a GM that you can go out there and get that can handle the small ball assembly of talent better?
Well, to go back to the original question, and Broder, you said this in the chat, and I 100% agree. When you talk about this team this year, you have to give more credit to AJ Hinch because what we're learning about this team this year, and I know bringing up this guy's name is like bringing up Lord Voldemort, we're starting to learn that Al Avila was actually pretty good at drafting. He just didn't get Jack for Justin Verlander and a JD Martinez, and that is a sin that is unforgivable.
Hold on, let me look at the chat.
Hey, Riley Green is an Al Avila guy. Kerry Carpenter is an Al Avila guy. Tarek Skubal is an Al Avila guy. You can go, Scott Harris chose to pay him and lock him up, but Colt Keith was an Al Avila guy.
I'm looking at the chat now because you're giving Al Avila some love, man. I know how our chat family feels about Mr.
Well, but my point with all of this is in Major League Baseball, when guys that you draft, like a Max Clark, like a McGonigal, like a Bryce Rayner, you're not going to see their imprint in the big leagues for a while. You don't really... It's going to be like this. This is not a knock against Scott Harris. I believe that when it's all said and done, you're going to look at the return that Scott Harris got for Jack Flaherty and be okay with it. Hopefully we feel the same about Carson Kelly and Andrew Chafin and Mark Canha as well. But you need a couple more years to really put your imprint on a team to where it is your guys. And hell, a lot of these Al Avila guys might be with the team and being some of the biggest stars moving forward. At least we certainly hope so.
Hey, Ryan's reactions in all caps. Javi Baez is an Al Avila guy.
Well, that was another one, just awful. And that was one of my issues with Al Avila is because I don't think I think with Scott Harris, philosophically, he values certain metrics that I value more than Al Avila. I think Al Avila is just a home run, RBIs, batting average guy. I truly believe that, 100%. Scott Harris has shown that he values things like on-base percentage and OPS a little bit more, and I think that that's the right way to build a team moving forward. But I can also say that Riley Green, Kerry Carpenter, Tarek Skubal, Colt Keith were not drafted. They were drafted by Al Avila, and that's crazy to say, but it's true.
It's true, and Crazy Clown said, good point, Flannel. I thought that before, too. And you got the chat going. as it relates to sitting on swords. Good
Yeah.
job, Flannel Sam. Matthew
yeah.
Kruger got me cracking up.
Hey, Mike G is 100% correct. Flannel, fall on the sword. Yes.
Did you see what Matthew Kruger named the sword that you're sitting on?
What did he's Kruger, you're having yourself a bad day. A bad day in the chat, first of all. Oh yeah, Jesse Winker. Okay, thank you for that. But Kruger, you were the one that wanted to trade Akil Baddoo at the trade deadline. We'd love to have him out. You wouldn't get a bag of Fritos for him.
Rugby Tony said, make the sword a you as what?
That was hey, when you say as many words as I do on a daily basis on air, you're going to get one wrong every once in a while. But it's funny, though, right? I got a couple of things, common sayings mixed up. It happens, right? It's like when I refer to somebody as, like, for example, like Brandon Broder. Is it Brandon Broder or Matt Dent? I do that with certain players. That's kind of what I do.
Oh, like the legendary Dick Campbell.
Dick Campbell. That was another one. Jack Butkus. Love him too.
Snap. Dog, man, the chat is on one today. It's been a great show. I know we got to get cooking, but first, we got to hear about a guy who, honestly, I'm surprised that he didn't make the 53-man roster. He got hops, he got hands.
He's got hops, he's got hands.
We need that big body receiver. All right, Tim Patrick beat him out, I guess.
Hey, a shout out to our old Mark White Reed, and a shout out to our old friend Griffin Lackey. Shout out to him as well. If you're watching, you'll understand. Dreaming of a new home but feeling the financial pinch? Mark White & Associates, your trusted real estate experts, are here to help. Mark White and his team will pay up to $5,000 of your closing costs. That's right, I said $5,000. Call Mark White & Associates today at 248-290-8242 or visit them at markwhitesells.com. Again, call Mark White today at 248-290-8242 to make your dreams come true.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men and claim your throne for a king's treatment from one of our talented stylists. Open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Just get to a Lady Jane's today and receive a precision haircut, scalp massage, hot lather neck shave, and a hot towel treatment. A haircut should not be a chore. It should be an experience. And that's exactly what Lady Jane's has to offer. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. There's always a location near you. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, it's wicked awesome.
A ton of fun, a ton of sports, and a ton of man-meat. Welcome to the Woodward Heavyweights, live daily 5 to 7 p.m. on Woodward Sports.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Woodward Avenue, the first paved road in America. Woodward Sports, the first sports network born in Detroit and made for Detroit.
Soroki's Crispy Chicken and Pizza is taking over Michigan, known for their quality hand-battered and hand-breaded chicken tenders, sandwiches, and New York-style pizza. Locations are popping up all over Metro Detroit, doubling the number of restaurants this year. Soroki's just had their grand opening in Madison Heights. Be sure to stop in and try at a mega station near you or go to Sorokis.com. Hey, and after you get yourself a nice lunch at Soroki's, go sign your kids up for the Boys and Girls Club. Join the best youth football league in Metro Detroit, the Boys and Girls Clubs of Southeastern Michigan's 3C Sports League. Offers youth ages 5 to 14 with 6 exciting teams to choose from in Detroit, Belleville, Highland Park, and East Point. All coaches are trained, certified, and undergo background checks. Register for football or cheer at bgcsm.org. Equipment, meals, and transportation included, all for a chance to play for a championship at Ford Field for just $175 per child. Put the youth back in youth sports with BGCSM 3C Sports.
Sell out the chat, son.
I'm sorry. I'm just so funny. Dying over here.
Our chat family, dog. Y'all are epic, man. Yeah. Keep the comments going. Get the mailbag questions ready. Make sure you guys have smashed and satisfied that like button, because you guys already know what's up next. Time to spark up. Word to Dispo. Let's get cooking, JB Smooth.
Let's go.
Oh, my God.
And now it's time for the most electrifying segment on the internet. Bum, bum, bum. It's What's Trending with JB. Live on Wake Up Woodward.
Yo, what's going on, fellas?
Ladies and gentlemen, Jay Bizzle.
Yo,
KG.
chat
Let's
family,
rock.
you guys are killing me over here with all these comments you're making. A lot of fish girl, a lot of broder, and a lot of dark meat wankers.
Sashimi.
They want flannel to sit on the dark meat at Soroki.
Jesus Christ. Come on, we've all jumbled common phrases before, right? Come on.
It's gotten quite crazy, but we'll try to move on from that. But first, I gotta let you guys know some things. So, first off, this cover right here is now completely sold out online and on back order at SportsIllustrated.com.
Detroit Lions fans are sickos.
Yes, so if that's
Sickos.
any indication that when this magazine actually drops in store, you probably want to pick up a couple of these because, yes, they are sold out online and on back order as well, too. And next up, Broder sent me this, but the bounty has gone up because Giannis wants this card badly.
Oh, wow.
He wants this card badly. 150K. He said he needs this. I don't know. In your guys' opinion, would you sell this card to Giannis for 150K?
Yes.
Yeah. 150K, another autograph on like another card, though.
Yeah, I want a little
It'd be a
something
little
in return
deal.
because it's going to be more valuable.
And
Because you're Giannis, I'll sell it to you. Just give me – he's got some pretty valuable rookie cards out there of his own.
Yeah.
Just give me one of those.
And a reporter in me, just give me the content. Just give me the content of why you want this card, Giannis. That would be dope.
That a boy.
Hey.
Get the views.
And you pay for my travel and my tickets to a couple of Milwaukee Bucks games.
Oh,
See,
now you're
I'm not mad about that either.
Polo Frederick, man. Frederick Polo.
I'd trade it for some property in Greece because I'm pretty sure they're a little lax with the taxes over there. So.
Hey. Intern Chase
smart.
with the knowledge.
Yes,
Yeah,
he's smart over
I
there.
did not know that.
Thinks outside the box.
See, I wasn't even thinking about that, but yes, I definitely agree. A little trade-off in advance, maybe a couple home games at the Bucks, I don't have a problem with that at all. But did you guys know that Steve-O from Jackass is still out here doing Jackass things?
What?
This man is 50 years old, and this recently just happened.
What?
He has his ear in between two plates. And that is John Jones punching.
Oh.
Why?
He gives himself cauliflower ear.
Yeah.
Oh.
But like, why?
Why is John Jones punching weights?
Yeah.
Yeah, like there's so many questions.
What?
That was like my conscience right now.
Hey,
Like,
I don't know. I don't get it. I don't get it at all. But
this.
Do you guys ever wrestle?
This leaves me speechless.
And if you guys
I
ever
am
wrestle,
shocked.
cauliflower ear is like when your blood vessels burst in your ear and you got like a bunch of scar tissue built up. So like if you see somebody with cauliflower ear, they're not someone you really want to like rumble with.
Right.
Yeah.
But why does Steve-O? I mean, I get it. I get how he was made famous. But why does he want to give himself cauliflower ear right now?
That's so wild.
I have no idea.
It's something
He's
about
vegan.
intern Chase, bro, with the whole look at everything today. Like, look, man, this is the way that you make sure if you're out there in the streets. Hey, hold on, bro. Before you rumble, can I check your ears first? I absolutely love it.
I will say this though. Shout out to Steve-O because he was electric on Jackass. He was probably the one that I enjoyed watching. It all started when he swallowed that goldfish.
Oh, God.
Iconic.
Oh,
iconic, right, JB?
Lord.
Iconic.
And he was heading down a pretty dark path.
Yeah,
and
he was.
turned his life around. I think he got a dog. He's like into rescuing dogs too.
Oh, wow.
Big time
That's what's
turnaround.
up.
I did not know that. All right. Turned his life around.
He did.
Yeah, he's
Hey.
been sober for quite a while, so I know that's a big thing for him.
Oh, nice. See, something, the more you know. But hey, any of you guys want a beer?
Sure.
Oh, that's the Josh Hamilton.
College.
They tossed this man a beer from across the street.
Wait, that was Josh Allen?
No, I'm just referring to when Josh Hamilton threw that baseball to the dad in the balcony and he fell over.
Oh,
Pretty
my
sad story.
gosh. What in the world?
What are they doing up at Syracuse?
Bro.
Hey, Justin, you ever see this at Syracuse?
Sheesh, man. He threw that like he threw that mug like Stafford, just setting his receivers up to get smacked.
Yo,
goodness.
College is a wild time. I'll just say that. I mean, Broder, you guys know as a former collegiate athlete, it is a wild time.
Wait, let me take back my mischievous laugh. Hey, sweetie, I know you're watching.
Hey, even as somebody who was not even in the stratosphere of being a collegiate athlete, those are the type of things you do. Would it have been outside the realm of possibility for me to throw a beer across the street to someone? Absolutely not. I had a lot of friends, shout out if you're watching, who were kind of, to put it nicely, fuck boys. Love you guys, but we all had those in college. Broder, you did.
Oh,
yes.
We were them too sometimes.
Yes.
The debauchery that happened, the tomfoolery.
Debauchery?
Yeah, college was a wild time.
Tell me about it.
No, not on air. Not on air.
I was so sheltered, man.
There are no initiations or anything that happened at college.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true too. Hey, drink responsibly, but I don't know what that tastes like. Anyway, speaking of beer, this is what what's trending on right now. I know we posted this to our socials, but you know what? 7 hits and not a drop of beer spilt.
Wait, why he barked though? Hey, beer still in hand. Beer still upright.
Not a drop of beer spilt.
He lost the shoe. Goodness, sign this man up.
Yeah, you Denver Bronco fans are different.
That dude really wanted to keep Tim Patrick.
Why did he bark at that person though, bro? Like, I just don't get he really wanted to keep Tim Patrick.
God, Zach Wilson should be the starting quarterback.
Yo,
I want Tim Patrick.
What?
Tim Patrick is done, man.
Hey, you know what?
Don't need a beer anymore.
He's pretty lucky too. He didn't spill that beer because I guarantee you that thing was like $15-$20 too. But
probably like $23.
Yeah.
Man. That was one of the.
Yeah.
Whoa. Pause in advance. One of the long boys.
Hey, yes. Hey, bro, you know what's weird though, and I've seen this on Twitter. I don't know if you have. There's a weird kind of cult-like following of Zach Wilson defenders that are like bubbling up to the surface.
There is. I don't understand it.
Yeah.
I don't get it. They were calling for him to be the starting quarterback. I don't understand it. Bo Nix is that starter.
There's one in a particular. I think his name is NBA Shane. He's a LeBron Stan account, which I obviously follow a couple of them. Sue me. And he also recently I've seen a lot of pro Zach Wilson tweets. It's like that is a weird
pro Zach Wilson. Jeez.
And that's fine if you think that he wasn't as bad as his play showed in New York because he was on the Jets organization. I can't necessarily fault you for that. However, I don't think that's the hill you want to die on. He couldn't beat out a rookie. And he probably didn't play well enough to beat out a rookie. There's no future for him in the NFL, unfortunately.
Not a bit. That's it for what's trending, you guys. Let's hop into some mailbag.
Bro, that was great. I'm still sitting here trying to think. What sports take would get me to that point to get knocked out? Like, which one am I defending like that? Maybe Cade Cunningham is a star.
I was going to say Cade. That's probably got to be Cade for you.
That would be me. I would definitely get laid out, bro. Oh, man. Great job as always, JB. Smooth, man. The segments are always dope from the Wake Up WUW Crew. It's time to get into some mailbag, huh? We got to pay some bills first?
Yeah, we still got to pay a little bills. Let's do a watch party and Dr. Pierce.
Hey, let's rock. Listen, guys, the watch party with the heavyweights as well as the post-game show. They're sponsored by Sabbath Coffee, and they will be at Hayes Social in Shelby Township. And the reason why you guys want to be at this is because if you remember last Detroit Lions season, it was epic. And the chat family was like, we would love to be able to have this opportunity to be able to experience this Detroit Lions run with you all. And the support, we definitely felt that. So thank you guys. But you want to stay tapped in because now with it being at Hayes Socials, you guys get to be a part of the action too. With the watch party, we're going to be reacting right away to every single play. If you're there, hey, you might even wind up on our social media. And with the post game, hosted by Sam and Anson, Stick and Anson, you guys already know. Those who know that were tapped in last year. The streams, 20, 25, 30,000 people in that chat, man, supporting this thing, celebrating these Detroit Lions and looking at something that we had never seen done before. You want to be a part of the action. You want to be there in person. If you can't, make sure that you stay tapped in via Woodward Sports Network. Thank you, guys. And attention, sports fans. You don't want to miss out on expert sports injury insights with Dr. Jeff Pierce of Michigan Sports and Spine. Join Dr. Pierce every Tuesday on Big D Energy and every Thursday on Ermanni and Edwards with Mass, where he's offering you the top-notch injury advice. I know he just did a good video breakdown on DJ Reader. He also discussed some stuff about Penei Sewell and his ankle injury. But trust the guy that DMAC trusts. Dr. Jeff Pierce, he's here to keep you in the game and playing at your best. For more information, visit MichiganSportsandSpine.com or call 248-426-9944.
The Great American Chevy Week is back and bigger than ever at Feldman Chevrolet. Choose from the largest inventory of award-winning Chevys, all priced to move for the biggest week of the year. Get this 2024 Silverado for only $213 a month, or this 2024 Equinox for as low as $249 a month. Feldman takes the Great American Chevy Week to another level. Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Thank you to all the fans for making Woodward Sports your #1 online destination for Detroit sports. We promise not to drop the ball.
At Planet Fitness, you can get everything you need for just $1 down.
Try out Planet Fitness and dang, they got lots of equipment.
Not me getting a Planet Fitness membership just for the 24-hour perk.
Hey, y'all better get on these free fitness training sessions from Planet Fitness.
Did y'all know that the PF app has workouts you can do at home? Cheapest therapy I can find is Planet Fitness.
Join Planet Fitness today and get everything you need for just $1 down, $15 a month, cancel anytime. Deal ends Thursday, July 18th.
Since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a fast, convenient, and first-class car buying experience called the Feldman Advantage. With 18 locations, there's a Feldman dealership in your backyard. Visit feldmanauto.com to find the location nearest you. Feldman Chevrolet, Detroit's #1 Chevy dealer.
Hey, and welcome back. It's Wake Up Woodward. Thank you guys for choosing to kick off the day with the WUW Crew. We've talked a lot, man. Lions, Tigers, Pistons, everything. Hey, and you know what? Sometime by the end of the show, say something about the Red Wings, just so we can complete the 4 pro sports here. But it's time for our Wake Up Woodward mailbag segment, presented by Feldman Automotive Group.
Yes, first one. I'm going to go out of order real quick because I thought this was a great question. Desert Stallion 14. Feldman mailbag. Going into the 2024 NFL season, are we Lions fans more concerned with wide receiver X position or pass rush opposite Hutch?
See, I would probably say wide receiver X just because I like the Tim Patrick signing. If I were given a choice, I'd rather they would have just kept Josh Reynolds and not had the need for it. But with Tim Patrick, I'm at least happy that they tried something with somebody who's had success in the NFL before.
I think both sides of the argument are high upside swings that the Lions are taking on James Houston, who was injured last season but has shown potential with the 8 sacks, and Tim Patrick has shown potential with mediocre quarterbacks putting up pretty good numbers. So I think that it's a little the same. If I had to pick one, I'd probably say the edge, because I think we can survive without an X receiver, but we can't survive without a good pass rush on the opposite of Hutch.
Great take.
That's fair.
Here we go. Charles McClain, Feldman mailbag. Could the 25 Tigers be the 24 Royals without Chris spending much money?
Yeah. I mean, guys, Jesse Winker. Come on. Yes, 100%. The one thing that the Tigers don't have, and I don't think they ever will have, is a Bobby Witt. However, when you look at after Bobby Witt, after guys like Pasquantino and Salvador Perez, I actually think the Tigers have more potentially good to great players than the Royals do. It's just they don't have a Bobby Witt.
I agree with that.
And I also think the Tigers might even have better starting pitching upside, although the Royals have had good starting pitching as well.
And that's what's pretty cool about the promise that we're seeing right now of what A.J. Hinch is doing with this lineup as currently constructed, that a lot of people, especially before the trade deadline, said there's not enough here for him. And after the deadline, a lot of people said there's definitely not enough for him. To be able to see the way that he manages this talent, it's encouraging for me, especially with the owner like Chris Ilitch, who may or may not spend a lot of money.
Yeah. Shad216, Feldman mailbag. Hey, sword sitter Sam. Are you ready to sit on another sword when J-Mo gets over 1,300 receiving yards with 12 receiving and 4 rushing touchdowns? Start saving up for that jersey, bucko.
Oh, I'll get the jersey. All I ask of you, Shad, and I know you're not going to comply, is you act like he's done that in a season already.
Shot.
That's always been my issue. And I don't want to have this fight anymore because we're going to unite and hope J-Mo does well this season. If he puts up the flannel getting a jersey numbers, that's good for the Lions. It's just you act like he's let's put him in the Hall of Fame already off of 2 seasons. Right, Shad? Right? You said that as much in the chat yesterday, bro.
Juices, on your last day, Ryan's reaction, mailbag, Feldman mailbag. Better 2024 season, the Bears or the Jets?
Ooh.
That's a good question.
I'm gonna have to go with the Jets. There's more proven. I think Caleb Williams gets the wrong comparison to Patrick Mahomes. I feel like the right comparison is Kyler Murray because of the fact the way that he improvises and moves around the pocket. I know it's different because of the size, but he plays that freestyle way of ball that I see from Kyler Murray, and I don't think it's necessarily NFL sustainable until he decides to become a true pocket passer like Patrick Mahomes. So I'm going to take the Jets and pray that Aaron Rodgers stays healthy and their line is half decent.
Yeah. Fellas, that's a good question. I want to open it up.
I think it's a good one, man. I would lean more towards the Jets. Obviously, a lot of that is going to depend on the health of an Aaron Rodgers, but I do believe they're set up more for success than the Chicago Bears right now. Who,
Fair.
You know, whether you believe in Caleb Williams or not, there may be a learning curve for him.
Yeah. Quality Gaming, Feldman mailbag. Who's number 2 in sack total this year for the Lions?
Oh,
God.
That's a tough one,
because
too.
we already know who's number 1, right?
Yeah, yes. Yes. You know what? F it. James Houston.
Let's go! Let's go.
I've caped up for this man. I fought for this man. I truly believe out of all of the players on this roster that he is the second best pass rusher. And there are a lot of situations in the NFL, especially if this stout run defense keeps teams behind the sticks to where you're going to need a James Houston to just see quarterback, go kill quarterback. James Houston finishes the season with at least 7 sacks.
I'm going to say James Houston, and there's a piece of me that wants to stay Marcus Davenport, but I don't think he's going to be healthy enough to do so. And there's also like the smallest part of me that wants to just go hot and go Wingo, because I feel like he's going to have some very interesting specialist looks where he's going to be able to run free on the quarterback. So, but I am going to take James Houston.
My guy Justin with the Wingo.
If it's Wingo, then Brad Holmes, let's just build him an actual cape and he's actually Superman. I don't think it is, but what if it is? Jesus
I do
Christ.
feel like Brad Holmes has like a bat cave somewhere, man, where he's just cooking up all of this stuff.
You could argue he deserves a cape already. I mean, just saying. Mekhi Wingo would just be another one where it's like, if you miss on a 6th-round pick, whatever. If you hit on a 6th-round pick, you are God-tier genius. If he does it multiple times, come on.
Come on. Eric Burrow, Feldman mailbag. Do you think Nick Saban will come out of retirement to coach Florida State?
No.
What?
No.
He's done.
Just throwing it out there.
There's a reason why he retired. You saw it. Bama was not the same over the last 4 years he was there. He did not want to reform into the NIL era. He didn't want to do all that, and so that's why he retired. He's very happy on College Game Day with Pat McAfee and friends doing what they're doing.
And that's the key. Nick Saban is an old school coach, and I don't blame him for that. If you're somebody like Nick Saban, you probably don't like what's happened to college football, and he got out, and you've got the title as the best college coach of all time, and he can just ride off into the sunset.
And you'll truly see this year with Dabo Swinney. I think he's one of the last few guys who of the old school caliber. You're really going to see if he can survive through the NIL era, because this year he has all the talent that they could need. He's got preseason expectations, so returning quarterback. It's going to be interesting to watch that story and how the old school coaches fare in this new NIL.
Yep.
Definitely. We'll wrap it up with this one. It's a tricky one. It hits the heartstrings. Feldman mailbag from LGRW Sparty. You can only have one. Tigers make the World Series. Tigers make the wild card but get swept, or Lions lose the division but still make the playoffs.
Say that one more time.
You can only have one. The Tigers clinch a wild card berth but get swept in the playoffs, first round, or the Lions lose the division in the regular season but still make the playoffs.
I'm doing option 1 because he never put a caveat in there that the Lions wouldn't win the division if the Tigers got swept out of the first round. So I'm going to do that because the Lions are winning the NFC North, no doubt.
I am so glad that you said that, Justin, because that's exactly where my mind is going. The path to the Lions making the Super Bowl and winning it is getting that 1 seed. There's a path for the Lions to win the Super Bowl. They're one of the favorites. The Tigers just making the playoffs is a wildly successful season. And I'll admit it as a fan, if the Tigers make the playoffs, as organizationally and fans, kind of just happy to be there.
Yeah.
And that's okay, by the way.
But for our Detroit Lions, this is their time. This is their window. All of Detroit sports, all fans, this should be about whatever needs to be done to make sure that the Detroit Lions bring home that championship trophy.
Chase wants to answer.
Let's rock.
Yeah, I disagree. I think that's the loser's mentality to want to like make have your team make the playoffs, but just ultimately get swept. Just because the Lions don't win the division, they're still in the playoffs. I mean, you don't have, as long as you get in, you got a chance to win. We're telling the Tigers like, hey, you're going to get in with zero chance, and we're going to pick that option over a team that actually has a chance to succeed in the postseason.
Okay, but do you feel more confident if the Lions? Do you feel confident they can make the Super Bowl as like a 5 or 6 seed?
I think if they make the playoffs, they can make the Super Bowl.
See, I don't want them going to Philly or even Green Bay or something like that, or San Francisco. I just don't.
The road's never easy to win the Super Bowl or to make it. You're going to have to beat good teams.
It's never easy, but we wind up forcing ourselves into a position to where it's definitely going to be the absolute hardest road taking. You're talking about potentially a road to the Super Bowl that's all outdoors. Think about that. Like, it's a little bit tough for me.
Just because we make it as maybe we make it as the 5 team, like, who knows, other upsets happen. Just because you're the 1 seed doesn't mean you're penciled into the Super Bowl. Like, upsets happen.
fair.
Remember when the Titans beat the Ravens a few years back? Like,
So you said you want it all then. You believe that second option, you're like, you know what,
Yeah,
Tigers make it, have a chance, and you believe that the Lions, this is completely stoked, not scared.
Absolutely, yeah. It's same old Lions if you're saying that I don't believe that if this team doesn't win the division, they can't succeed in the playoffs. You have to believe in your team, like, all or nothing.
So I'm SOL and have a loser's mentality because I answered that question. Come on, Chase. Come on.
Not because you answered the question. I think your answer has a loser's mentality. Show me someone okay with losing, I'll show you a loser.
I'm not okay with... Whoa, Chase! Whoa, Chase! I'm not okay with losing. They gave me an option of something that I answered, bro. I don't want the Lions to be a wild card team. That is a disappointing season, dude. It just is. A 1 seed is the easiest path. The Tigers aren't winning the World Series no matter what. They're not.
And it's not having a losing mentality to just feel like you don't want to put JG in a bad situation where he has to go into Philly and play in a cold weather playoff game in a very hostile environment. That's just not the situation I'd rather put the Lions in. I'd rather them playing in the comfy confines of Ford Field and have the fans behind them, or I'd even rather go to San Fran again because we proved that we can go in there and we take no shit, and I think we'd go and we'd do it again.
Man, that's a great question, and Chase obviously raised the heat on it, and it's just like, you know what? When you're talking about Ford Field being the weapon that we've seen it be, I don't know, man. I want Jared Goff comfortably at home, looking just like he did in that podcast video where he was projecting, I'm going to be here for a long time. That's the Jared Goff that I want. I want every single advantage for the Detroit Lions this year, and I will push in all the chips if it means that they can win the Super Bowl and it gives them their clearest, most easy path to get there. You're talking about all games at home until you get to the Super Bowl. You're talking about a bye week, so you're getting a little bit extra rest as well. I am all here for that. If we can ensure, hey, Tigers do the unthinkable and do something that none of us think they can do and make the playoffs, and the Lions got the easiest path to the Super Bowl, I would love that. I'm sorry, Chase.
Hey, I mean, that's fair. You guys can want the easiest path. I'm just saying, like, not everything is going to be all sunshine and rainbows. The road to the Super Bowl is tough. And, I mean, like, it doesn't matter how you get there. As long as you get there, you got a chance in the playoffs. Like, if you're a wild card team, if you're a division winner, you make the playoffs, so you got a chance to win the Super Bowl. If you're saying you're going to go to the wild card and then just get swept, there's zero chance of anything happening other than losing. Why would you accept that?
So the moral of the story is the only winner in this room is Chase. That's it. He's the only one. We're all just a bunch of losers. You know what? If the Lions were the 5 or 6 seed, and I'm not saying that it's going to happen, I don't think it's going to happen, I would feel overwhelmingly more likely that they would lose in the first round than make the Super Bowl. If they are the 1 seed, I'm almost guaranteeing them to the Super Bowl. Nobody is going into Ford Field and beating the Lions in the playoffs. They're just not. They're not. That's fine, Chase. I respect your opinion. But
Dog, what a show. Hey, shout out to the president. We salute. Salute. Look at the president. What is this face? And he's deliberating something all the time.
Isn't the show over yet?
Not yet, actually.
It's 10:07. Get the show over with. Get out.
We're sorry, President.
Get out of this dude. What would Ermanni and Edwards be saying? Get out.
Red Wings even odds to 90-plus points. Take that. They're going to have more than 90 points this year.
My guy, I was like, yo, I need something Red Wings. By the end of the show, we can complete all 4 pro sports teams. Thank you, that dude, Justin. He went from intern to absolutely a part of the fabric of Woodward Sports and the Waco Woodward family, man. We appreciate you and everything you've done so far and what you're going to continue to do for this network. Obviously, the long-term goal is that you're going to be parked here at Woodward Sports for a very long time. And the short-term goal right now is that you're going to continue to crush those socials. You're going to continue to crush your appearances on Waco Woodward. You're going to continue to be a part of Waco Woodward. And you're going to make sure that you go out there and absolutely kill it at Western.
Yep. Hey, 40-point season loading in hockey. We play 30 games. I'm going for 1.5 points per game this year. That'd be a huge number for me.
Need the
but
content, too.
I thank you guys. I appreciate everyone in this room, everyone at this network, everyone in chat. For real, like I can't say it enough how much I truly appreciate to be a part of Woodward Sports. And
hey, where's
Don't
the hat?
leave.
Oh, the hats. Oh, I'll just throw this one on.
Throw
though.
that one on, man. Hey, look. Hey, KG, bro, let's bring up those cupcakes, too. Obviously, we'll probably eat those off air. But, hey, man, look. I told y'all about the giggles, okay?
Oh my
so I'm
goodness, the
sending you
giggles.
to school with a rolled snack. These are the organic
Kool-Aid, stop playing. You know that's a
Giggles.
bag full of air.
Are those the
That is a bag full of air.
knockoff Skittles. No. This is what Skittles tries to be.
This is what
That's a
Skittles
bag
tries
full
to
of
be.
air.
I had to make sure I got you a
All
bag.
right, I got you.
I got some for the crew, too, while we celebrate after the
Those
show.
are not real. Stop it.
We got you some cupcakes as well, man, and just want to make sure that you feel the love.
I do feel the
Hey,
love.
you're a part
No
of the
doubt.
crew, and glad to have you.
Hey.
Any last words from you guys before we wrap it up?
Well, shout out to you, Justin. We appreciate working with you. I know it's just the beginning for your career. I'm excited.
Thanks, brother. I appreciate it. I
Do
appreciate
well at
everyone.
school.
I will. I have to in order to be back here. So
Look at my man KG over there in the chair, looking at him like, man, you trained him, man. You helped him, dog. So hey, look, let's wrap this thing up, man. We got KG. That is Detroit's #1 draft pick. He's off camera, off mic right now.
proud of Unc over there.
Hey, definitely want to make sure we shout him out, man. Shout out to intern Chase, man. Hey, you getting in that sound booth. You ain't wasting no time either.
No, I'm not trying to, man. Just ready to dive right in.
Hey, thank you for everything that you're contributing. Glad to have you on the team as well, brother.
Happy to be here. Excited.
Hey, shout out to Woodward Sports' MVP in the TD booth. That is J.B. Smooth.
Hey, another great show from everyone here. Shout out to Chase over there stepping up as well in the sound booth. Justin, do well at school. You are going to be missed here on the morning show every single time, but we know we'll see you again, especially when it comes to game day as well, too. And you got to hit us up, too. Whenever we can come out for some parties, just let us know, man.
Oh, definitely, man. Boots on the ground. You
Oh,
already
I
know.
got you.
Waco
Yeah.
Woodward, man.
We got plans.
Welcome back to the Brody, Matthew Broder. Glad that you're feeling healthy. I mean, that is our credential Tigers and our Lions reporter and writer for the network.
Yeah, so glad to be back. I'm excited to talk a lot of Lions tomorrow because at 12 o'clock, that's where the moves really start happening to fill out the roster. So I'm excited. Future's bright for the Tigers, Red Wings, Pistons, and the Lions, baby. Let's go.
Hey, let's go, man. Up here on the desk, it's your boy Brandon Dan K, Detroit Kool-Aid, your credential Pistons reporter and writer for the network. That right there down there, some people call him Flannel Sam.
Big musket.
What is it now? Some people call him Big Musket. Shout out to KG. Is it Frederick Polo or Polo Frederick? What is the official?
Frederick Polo. It's
Frederick
gotta be.
Polo?
Sure.
Frederick Polo. I like that, man.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, brother.
Hey, shout out to Justin. They grow up so fast. I've seen people come and go, and it doesn't get any easier every time. But you know what? He's not gone. He'll be around, and he was actually hired in. Shout out. It's the intern. Hey, it's the intern. It's the intern American dream, following in the footsteps of the great Noah Woolbrecht in the back, and hopefully Chase follows those same footsteps as well. And shout out Caleb as well on the exact same path.
Yes. All of them. Man, look, we got a squad, we got a team. Lions season's about to be dope. Save the best for last. That dude Justin, in the show for us, brother.
Hey, I appreciate everyone in this room. I appreciate this network. I'll say it again. I appreciate all the love in chat. I just opened chat, and I just saw probably 200 Jususes in there. So I appreciate it so much. That will do it for us at Wake Up Woodward this morning. We appreciate you all tuning in. Make sure you smash that like button for the boys here. That they deserve it. They put on every single day for you. They do everything to make this show the best it can be, and just continue to support it and continue to be you out there. We'll catch you in the next one. This has been Wake Up Woodward. Thank you.
Let's go. Hey. Yeah. Hell yeah, Justin.